Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first day of the EU Blitzcup server. I think, yeah. You will hear me together with Fujit today.
Hello, привет, очень приятно, мои русские друзья. Bro, пожаловать на мой стрим, это предама яво раскава. So there you go, that's it, that's all the Russian I know, sorry.
What's just gonna say? I'm gonna pretend I know what that means.
I just said welcome to our streams. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
Yes. Just a quick disclaimer thing, if you want to get rewards, you have to watch through the portal, you have to watch for at least 2 hours to get all the rewards. Pretty sure that we've got mods spamming links in the chat. If that's not the case, you can still find the links on the official Discord server in the Game News channel. Make sure that you are logged in, make sure that you've accepted your cookies so that you can actually watch the stream there, and you will get some nice rewards for that.
Certainly.
With us today, we have Every Good Name is Taken, aka Peter, and Wildman's Helper, aka Jack. Hello!
Goodbye.
Hello. Gesundheit, Fujit.
Whatever, yes.
Das war viel zu viel Russian, you know.
Hey, I'm trying. Спасибо. Я плохо говорю по-русски. Я очень хорошо говорю по-английски. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I said my Russian is very bad, but I'm much better at English.
Well, your Russian is better than mine, let's put it that way. I think I know Privet and I know Nastarovia, and that's about where it ends. Aside from multi-word that I can't say on stream.
But, more importantly, we're finally here. EU Blitzcup. EU! Yes! Our home server!
We've come home.
I've been so looking forward to this.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's been great being involved in all the other servers. APAC's been fantastic, CIS was fantastic, NA gave us one heck of a show, but we're now on our home server. Wow. Wow, what a ride. And boy, have we got some great teams involved.
So in just under 3 minutes, we're going to go into the first match, which will happen on Knell. Any prediction, guys?
I'm gonna predict that you will not forget the first 8 next time. Because I don't think we're playing Knell.
I said Knell.
Maybe you did.
She definitely did. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Jack, you shouldn't talk about that map lane. You have a past about that, don't you?
Well, I mean, to predict, Loka and Jones. To be honest, what I would be expecting for all the teams tonight, very close. Especially Loka, BPS, and Endgame, I think played very similarly. Jones might show a bit of a different strategy, and Tank, I don't know. I think there is a lot to anticipate from Jones, but basically, I think both these teams would be very closely matched. Although Jones seems to have the advantage over Canal than Loka, but Loka is really strong on my runes and Yukon, so it will be a tussle, and whether Loka can win some of the matches on Canal could be very crucial to whether they can win the entire fixture.
Well,
like
I mean,
you are getting right into it when we're not into it yet, Jack, but thank you.
But that's kind of like the point. Just give map predictions of what you expect to happen and all.
I mean, I'm looking at the lineups already, which obviously Every and Jack can't fully see yet, and it's some interesting calls here. We have a Grilla for Tomeo there for the Joneses. That's an interesting
Double
one.
Vickers.
Double Vickers as well. Double 60 TPs. I mean, we knew they were going to make a show. In Spitty in the WZ113, always an interesting lineup. And looking at Loka, what do you think of that lineup, Aminette?
It's a strange one. We see 2 E50Ms, maybe 3, 2 IS7s,
possibly.
biggest AMAX 50B. I think I kind of expect like not a YOLO push, but sort of like an effective push somewhere, because all these tanks are mobile enough to move together. And that's different for the Joneses with their 60 TPs in the grill. Well,
yeah,
I mean, technically mobile, but you don't want to bring it frontline in a tournament match, is what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. But I mean, the thing is, somebody asked me earlier who am I rooting for? And it's very difficult for me to say because I love the Joneses. I think they're a great bunch of guys. But I also like Loka because I think they've been top 4 forever.
And here we go. Into the first game we go. Whoop, whoop.
Yes. So, those of you watching on my stream, don't worry, my webcam has fallen off. I've taken it off for a reason, so you don't get disturbed.
I don't even have it on, to be honest. Like with these
It's
kind
like
of matches,
your
I know
beautiful
that
face.
Wargaming likes having us on stream and everything with faces. It's all about the games.
Totally. Couldn't agree more. I mean, look at those hit points. I mean, there's a little slight advantage there, but it's nothing at this level. Not
No,
really.
I like this. Cassia starting with just wishing good luck and Loka responding and everything. I like that kind of sportive behavior.
Absolutely. And, I mean, these guys all know each other, and they all want to see it. But look at this. I mean, this is out the box straight away.
I'm fairly sure that the Vickers went this way rather than the other way, mainly because of that lineup from Loka, which basically predicts where they're going to go. Oof.
Oh, that was a great shot by Fantastic there into the side of Romeo.
But look at that, they've completely abandoned base C. They've obviously not going for B, they're now getting base A. But unless they grab base B as well, this could give Loka a big advantage if they're going to go for base C, because no one is there.
That's very true. I mean, we know Jones are a very aggressive clan, and they were very aggressive through there. And they're trying to they're trying to sort of outcap on B here, getting all those tanks in. Only 3 will help,
And
but
they will, well, probably, they will lose a lot of HP over it, but they will probably get it.
I don't know. They're being reset and being bled at the same time. They
There we
finally
go.
got it.
I can't believe
But-
they used the Vickers for that as well, because that is very juicy to take in there.
But the thing is, as you anticipated, they're going to be able to grab that C cap. Fantastic is in there,
And
and
Loka still has the point advantage despite that B cap. And look at how much HP they lost for that.
totally. And I mean, I can see what their plan is. Their plan is to try and drag those guns onto that grill sat at the back there, overlooking that A cap. But Loka with the advantage don't really need to push on to B.
No, that's the thing. They can just literally just wait. They all they need to do is protect base C, which is fairly easy because it's a pretty open base, and base D, which they're not going to get to.
Well, I'm just looking at where Giseo and Fantastic are in those 50Ms, and they are overlooking Fantastic in the IS-7 on base C, and Servtastic is also going to come in and help out, just anticipating a push onto C.
They're also firing some blind shots towards where the grill is, the E50Ms. Because he's fired a few times now, they will know where he's at.
Oh, absolutely, and they know themselves that
Oof.
if they were taking a grill where they put it, that was a great shot into Fantastic.
That was beautiful to see.
Yeah, across the map, Matt Ghosty there from across the map.
And now basically both teams are dug in, but it will be up to Joneses to actually do something. That's a
Totally,
pretty
and
comfortable position because usually it's the other way around with these spawns.
it is, and it's going to be an interesting one because I'm expecting the Joneses to start stacking their tanks up on this side to try and push onto C. But they may also, if Unitastic is spotted, and I think he has been spotted, and they sort of roughly know
Yeah.
where he is. No, Ghosty is getting out there. I thought they were going to probably push Ghosty into Uni, but they're not going to. They are going to stack up for a C cap.
I did expect a push on that side, to be fair, as well, mainly because they know that the other side is more stacked up in tanks. So it's less risky to push the B side than it is to push the other side. And they
Oh,
don't lose a
absolutely.
base over it if they push B, because they already have it.
This is
But if
true,
they
but I was going to say, at the same time, the Joneses have got to be careful in case Loka try and grab B.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If they had pushed the B side, they would have been safer from that. While if they push C, there's no telling whether or not they're going to be able to get base C and not lose B in the process.
Yeah, I mean, the Joneses here, they've got to be careful. They can't afford to lose a tank, and they've effectively either got to take C and really take C, or get one of the Loka tanks out of the game. And Spitty is making his push.
And he doesn't have to stay in there for, he's gonna lose a lot of HP. And he has
Yes,
to
he
make
is.
up for at least 5, yeah, that's
No,
gonna
it's all.
steal the deal.
Yeah. Yeah, this is now turned into Loco unless something very bizarre happens.
Not gonna happen, they just need to survive.
Yeah.
And look at the points there. Base
And
B now
Ghosty,
also
that-
comes down, there you go.
Yeah, and it's all down. Ghosty going down as well. Just think there that the Joneses just bled too much on that B cap, realistically.
Yeah, they did. And it turned the game around. Same as pushing base C here. With those E50Ms there that were blind shotting. I'm not sure how much the Joneses knew about their positions. But that made a lot of... Basically, it was pushing against Loca's strength rather than their weakness.
Do you think a little bit of nerves may have crept in there? First
Could be.
game out. First game out.
yeah.
First game and first time on the big stage for some of the Joneses. Well, definitely for the Jones clan, but these players are quite experienced. But some of them are being on the big stage for the first time, I think, in the Blitzcup.
We need to remember also that there's like a difference of 1.5 months since they last played at this level. Like, they will have trained, of course, but that's different.
But I mean,
yeah.
Loco were here last year at the Blitzcup. I mean, they didn't progress into the next day. They went out on the first day, so they'll be looking to redeem themselves, I would think. And throughout the PYS and the Pros Tour, they have been incredibly hot.
Sorry, just got distracted a little bit there. Yeah, that's definitely a thing as well. But at the same time, it also means that for the Joneses, in a way, there is less to lose because they've not been here with autumn season. So
Yeah.
anything they achieve here is a profit, so to speak. There's a better word for that, but I can't think of it.
Well, I mean, they'll only grow into it, even if,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, the experience they'll take from it is going to be fantastic, and they'll grow into it. And they've been a clan that's growing all the time.
Absolutely, and I've absolutely loved playing them. I generally love their playstyle. It just didn't work out for them this last match. But here we go, onto the second
Oof.
match.
Look at
Lots
this
more
lineup.
60Ps this time around.
But the Joneses staying with the grill and the double Vickers.
I think now we're gonna see the normal, so quote unquote, gameplay for this spawn, where they're basically going to go at base B, get A, and lock it down.
But look at what Loco are doing. They're sending Anya to grab C, and the rest of them are still pushing through towards that B cap. And Spitty and Finn may be tussling very early doors here.
That's gonna be interesting to see as well. First shots being taken. That spot from Fantastic is fantastic.
It is fantastic, absolutely. The two Vickers being lit up, and fantastic. Having a pop at Giseo, I believe. Oh, Giseo really getting smacked.
Basically, Tamio getting smacked as well, getting spotted early, but that's a lot of HP to lose very early on. Yes, they
Yeah.
will have the base advantage, but it's going to be difficult to get back from that. Basically, Tamio is pretty much a one-shot now for most of the tanks.
Yeah, I mean, poor old Tomeo there, really getting smacked. Giseo also losing a lot of HP.
And he's getting pushed now, and there's nothing the girl can do about it. This will be the end
Yeah.
of Tamio.
Absolutely, and you're right. There's nothing. Even Deneo cannot help Tomeo here against Giseo Tastic.
And they're losing a lot of HP for this.
Oh, and Tomeo missing the shot there on Moroz.
That as well, and now basically we're entering sort of like a big brawl stage. Tamio's still alive, if barely. Spidey is the first one to go. Yasuo is going to be quick to follow, but there goes
Kiko's going to go next as well. Kiko's being focused heavily here by Loco, who are pushing heavily through the canal area.
And to be fair, this is great. Basically just moving in a tight group, wolfpack strategy by Loka here. And it's working out because basically Jones just lost a lot of HP crossing over, getting to that A cap.
Yeah, but they take out Giseo, they take out Surftastic, but it's too little too late. It's only 2 against too many. Lagote and Mac Ghosty are the last guys standing.
And there we go. Only Lego left now. And
Well,
that's the thing. This is the basically, it's getting to the positions. Loka is more or less prepared for it, and they bleed them a lot, and that
Well,
gives them a big advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking there when I mean, Loka clearly anticipated where Joneses were probably going to be going, and they really had those guns trained. So when the likes of Gaseo and Dineo and their Vickers moved across, they were able to get some good shots in, and then poor old Tomeo couldn't really do much.
Mm-hmm.
Really
Basically,
good stuff from
fantastic
Loka.
man of the match here for me. With the
Oh,
way that
totally.
he was like epic spotter there.
Oh, totally. I mean, he was straight down there, and wow. I mean, straight down there and getting all those spots in an IS-7 as well, which is fantastic. And he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Just for those.
Oh my God. Slight detour. I've been having so much fun just making rhymes with the teams, like not with
I've
the
been doing
team
the same.
members because some names just can't be rhymed, but just about the teams themselves. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, I just want to jump in a minute. Guys on YouTube, I know you're going to hear this in 5 minutes from now, but I'm also on the portal on my iPad, and it's working fine for me. So you either need to refresh, or you need to accept those cookies, or stuff like that. It works fine for me, guys.
The weirdest thing is my stream is not basically, it's like on pause on the portal, but the timer is still going. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Basically, the portal has not been working right since the beginning of it. Anyway, we are moving on to main runes, and we see a very interesting lineup for the Joneses again now, with 2 AMX 50Bs, a VK90, 2 60Bs, an E100, and an E4.
Certainly, I was just looking at that VK90 E100 E4. Wow, and
Exactly
more
those
traditional.
tanks, yeah.
Yeah, very traditional. I mean, if you look at Loka's lineup, it's more of the meta that we'd expect: 60 TPs, IS-7, a lone 50B, 2 IS-7, sorry. But I'm really interested in this Joneses selection. I like that. That's cool. To be fair.
It's kind of like the big risk, big reward kind of thing, because if you think outside of the box, it can work out absolutely fantastic. At the same time, it can also really work against you.
There is that. But I mean, Tomeo's clearly liking his derpy TDs today. Although he wasn't so happy with the grill in the last game. I'm interested to see how he does it with the E4.
We have the Joneses focusing towards the A side, and Loka doing the exact same thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm just flying to base A and hoping to not get.
So am I.
here.
So am I. I mean, it's you can see that. I mean, Loka have just taken some of their heavies out towards the middle area as well, hoping to peel off some of those heavies. And they have. I mean, the Joneses have peeled off. Gaseo getting a bit of a smack. Moroz in a great position.
He's very cheeky there, but it is going to work out for him. The IS-7 is great like that. He won't be able to get out of that position.
True.
But for absorbing shot or making people miss their shots, he's in an excellent position.
But look at those Loka 60 TPs, Anna. I mean, they're just stacking up, ready to push.
And in this case, I feel that the Joneses are a little bit spread out, and that could work against them.
It really could. I mean, Ghost is here in the E100, but he's these 60 TPs, when they all get loaded and stick that, if they stick the adrenaline and the tungsten all in the same time, they could really hurt Ghosty.
Also, just want to point out that Loka is doing the exact same thing again. They are bleeding Jones. Like, not as brutal as on Canal while Jones was crossing over, but overall, they are. And that is what is making them so dangerous for Jones, because they really need to preserve that HP for when Loka pushes, and that push will come at some point.
It will, and you can see, just if you look at the Joneses, we've just got the 250Bs just hanging back here, Gaseo and Spitty just hanging back, waiting for that push. They know it's going to come because they know that those 60 TPs are there.
That was a great hit into Moros by one of the Joneses. Basically, the names are covering each other for me. Keiko, I think it was.
I think it was Keiko.
Yeah.
I mean, Keiko's very, very isolated there, but he's going to give Moraz a bit of a hard time.
He has to be very careful though, because there's a lot of guns there that could really mess him up. Look at this. He's so cheeky.
Is he gonna be able to get? No, and Uni did get 2 into him, but Moral's getting a tap there from Legoat.
He's now a one-shot, and that could
Oh.
be game-changing. Oh!
But look at this, here they go! And now the 50Bs of Gaseo and Spitty jump into action. Ghosty the bait. This is great stuff from both teams here.
Ghostie's not going to survive this, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to take out a tank. Ghosty is the first one gone. Ross is still alive, if barely. The
They're gonna
AMXs are
push up.
moving around because they have to.
Yeah, oh, there goes Morales, but they're going to push down onto Tomeo now. Gaseo and Surftastic here.
Basically want to take out Anya and Unitastic here, but it's going to be tricky.
There goes Anya. Just
They
looking
have
at
to make
Tomeo.
all these shots count. That was a great shot by Yazio coming at the
Yeah.
rear there.
Tomeo goes down. 3 tanks down here for the Joneses. They need to get rid of tanks.
Yeah. There we go.
do.
Spidey running away. Fantastic in pursuit.
Are they going to look for Vent or are they going to go for Finn? No, they're going for
No,
Vent.
that was an Amarak.
Oh,
That was
an
AMX
Amarak.
50B getting Amarak. Sorry, the Amarak itself is not funny. The fact that it's not a 60TP or an IS-7, I find
Absolutely.
really funny.
Oh, it's very close this at the moment. Look at those hit points. They're not. It's not massive. Oh, that's going to hurt them though. 2 now against 4. Fantastic. Here's a one shot. Daneo needs to finish.
Yeah, but this is going to be... He is a VK90, but all 3 of Loka
Yeah.
are there. And
But-
he's just... You can't angle 3 ways.
No, Ventastic is very healthy. That's the problem. I mean, Kiko can come in and try and take out Surftastic, but it's not going to be
It's not
enough.
going to make a difference here anymore.
No.
And that's a 3-0 for Loka so far.
Yeah, it is.
And this one, I do feel, was close. But again, it's that bleeding in the beginning of the battle that is making all the difference here.
No, you're right. I mean, Jones were a lot more settled down there.
Yeah.
They had a good tactic. They realised that the E100 of Ghosty was probably going to get pushed. They kept their 50Bs back, and they had a chance in that game. But as you said, they bled too much early doors.
Which is a shame, really, because we know the Joneses, they are utterly amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So to see this happen, I mean, the game's... It's not like it's not epic. It is very intense and everything. But it's sort of like it's just not working out. Loka is just predicting what they're going to do too much.
But to be fair, we kind of expected this. I mean, it's
Yeah.
been a very tight race to get here to begin with, and these 4 clans are literally the top of the top at the moment on the EU server. Loka were always going to try and do something. They've been here before. They've been so close so many times, and they've worked very hard this season, this autumn season, to get to where they are. The Joneses are beautiful to watch, and as I said before, I mean, I love every single one of them. They're a great bunch of guys, but they are relatively novices at this level. Not the players individually, because all the players are incredibly experienced. But there's going to be a little bit of nerves. There's going to be a little bit of stage fright.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it may just be creeping in just that little bit. Plus, as I said, Loka would have tightened up a little bit more. I mean, they've been chomping at the bit this season.
They have been. And let's not forget, it is top 4.
Mm-hmm.
And that's saying something as well. The level of gameplay, like when you're doing the round robins for the top 8, you have 7 teams to contend with. And against some of those teams, you will be stronger. Against some of those teams, you will be a little bit weaker. And that makes... but you have allowances for that because it's still top 8 and you have round robins. And when it's
Yes.
top 4, everything depends on it. We see the Yo's finally being broken out here.
Totally. Well, they need to be, and the Joneses need to do something. This is match point, is it not? So
Yes,
Loka,
it is.
Let's go.
I'm also just basically... I'm still surprised at the AMX getting ammo wrecked. Like,
Well,
it
I was-
wasn't absolutely vital. It
No.
was a 2-shot at most, and an AMX is juicy. But still, it's like the one tank that lineup you didn't expect to get ammo wrecked.
It's very true, but I mean, we were speaking to some of the pros last night, remember? And they've taken away what they saw on the CIS stream, and they've been changing the equipment, adding different consumables to try and anticipate and try and defeat and combat the prone ammo rack of the 60 TP.
And the IS-7. Also,
And
just
the
want to
IS-7.
point out, look at Moros here. Look at
I
what he's
know.
doing. Cheeky, but he was almost getting away with. Oh,
Oh,
that was bait.
That was bait. I mean, Giseo there getting absolutely pummeled.
This was kind of like either he's going to get the base, or someone's going to lose a lot of hit points. And in the end, both happened. But that was brutal.
I'm feeling quite quite sorry for Dineo here, because if he gets pushed, he's very, very isolated.
Yeah.
And Anya is coming round, and that may tell those 60 TPs that they can have a push down onto Dineo.
Also, just want to point out, there you go, Fantastic has now been spotted. He was very patiently waiting there to get shots in, and it's basically cutting off a good position part of the map for Joneses.
It is indeed, and look at, I mean, Anya, Dineo's doing great here, you know, preventing, and now Legoat comes in, but he was preventing Anya from getting any shots in, and now those
Yeah.
60 TPs are backing off.
This is dangerous. Look at where Timeo is. Look at where Timeo is. Basically, Jones is very split up here.
But I mean, this is interesting stuff from Timeo. I didn't expect him to be all the way over there. And as you say, I mean, it's a gun out of the action, but he's going to give Fantastic possibly a hard time, or even Unitastic. Oh, he misses that shot though.
Keiko now being pushed on. Basically, Loka making a play here. And this is going to be... it's going to be interesting. Basically, now Ghosty is being shot down. We have little micro battles happening all around now.
We do. I mean, Keiko may be able to finish Morozov here. No, he doesn't. He gets a good roll, but it wasn't the roll he wanted. And now Serve is coming in to try and finish off one of these two. Either goes.
Timeo. Danio has been taken out. Keiko is almost gone.
Serve goes down.
There goes Timeo.
They need to get Moroz out of the game, the Joneses, to have any stands. I mean, look at their hit points.
Exactly.
Jones is...
At 960. Well, it's going up and down a little bit with
Yeah,
the heels, but this is Loga's game. It's pretty much like it would be very magical ammo rack time if they manage. If they manage to turn this around, there is a chance, but it is very slight, and the HP difference is not going to be.
And it's all over. I mean, you were right. I mean, the HP difference at one stage was 500 against 3,000. So
yeah. And it's kind of like, you keep rooting for them because you don't want it to be over. And basically, we've been talking, we were joined last night by some of the pro players, and we were talking about that. Like, we're basically, this is the first, we're rooting for everyone because we love all these teams and they're all doing fantastic. And you want everyone to do well. And you know that there can only be one winner, and that really sucks because you like all four.
Oh, totally. But I mean, the Joneses there going down quite easily to Loka. I have to admit. I mean, we saw much better battles on my end there than we saw on Canal. The thing is, they're not out yet. They've got 2 bites of the cherry. It's double elimination. They need to go away now and pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and be aware of the next game, because the next game is big. It's
they
big.
need to get their head out of this matchup and ready for the next, and that's going to be tough. Not just to do mentally, but also because they're going to be facing either BPS or EG, and that's like not going to be a relaxing thought on its own.
no, and that's the thing. I mean, the next games of BPS and Endgame. I mean, these are 2 titans. I mean, BPS have just been getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and Endgame, Endgame at Endgame. They have been the dominant force on the EU server for so long. So this is a big game coming up. And whoever loses will go out to face the Joneses. So the Joneses really need to dust themselves off here. I mean, they can do it. They've played at this level for a long time. You know, and they've got to go in with the right mindset. Yes. And I really hope they do. I really hope they do, because I really like them. That's not to say I don't like any of the other clans, because I do.
Exactly that. We want all of them to win, and we know it's impossible. But yeah.
Totally.
Also, I want to say, like, BPS as a team is still very new, but these players have been around for ages and have played together for ages as well in various combinations, various teams. They're very new, but not in the same way that the Joneses is. The Jones is fairly new to this level as a whole.
Yes.
Both players and team. And with BPS, the name is new, but the rest isn't.
That's very true, although BPS do come with a slight disadvantage. And that disadvantage is the curse of Zerd.
Well, that has been broken. So I want to believe that that's no longer an issue.
Well, to an extent, you're right. It has been broken, but this is a different type of tournament. So, Zerd, we want you to break this curse, my friend. Just wondering. I don't think our analytics would have caught up with the gameplay just yet.
No, not yet. At least not according to what I've seen in my live control room.
This is what I'm seeing as well. They look like they're halfway through that. But, I mean, this was the opening games here on EU. And, you know, we've seen some fantastic stuff here. Some raw aggression, some clever gameplay from Loka.
It was so smart.
Yes.
Like, every single game, you could see Loka outthinking Jones here. And it was with basically Moroz on the main runes, both games being pretty vital in what he did and how he did it. And it's that bleeding. And that's going to be very interesting to see later, because I'm not sure if that's going to work out for Loka versus BPS or EG later on. Because that's mainly the thing. It is so different. All these teams are so strong. And I've known that like, versus one another, they will have favorites, and like playstyle wise, one thing can work versus one team, but it can also not work against another team. So it's, I'm loving this top one.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, you know, that's the thing. It's been so tight all the way through, and you know, okay, as we said earlier, just because the Joneses fail here against Loka, it's double elimination. They have another bite at that cherry.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, you've caught up now.
They're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Yes. Wow. There is a lot to unpack here.
Yes.
There is a lot.
Is Speedy here as well now?
I'm not
sure.
sure.
He's still definitely a mutant on Discord. He'll be back.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel really sorry for Jones in the last 3 games, to be honest.
Yes.
I feel really sorry. We can talk more about that once Eric's now here.
Up now as well.
Yay.
Welcome.
First off, I want to hear your thoughts on the AMX 50p sound.
Yeah, totally.
I think that changed. That is really important. That really changed the dynamics. Had it not happened, I think it would have gone a lot closer.
You know,
That is true.
I didn't actually catch that, but thank you for mentioning. All I was thinking about is, I have never seen a 50p get Amarak before. I was just so amazed.
Yeah.
I've never seen that in the 4 years that I've been playing this. Yeah, 4 years that I've been playing this game.
It was around 950 ammo rack, which I believe happened with the 60TP up the butt.
Yeah. And it was very crucial because what Jones was doing at that time was to create 2 micro fights between Loka, and because they lost that 50p unexpectedly, suddenly it was 1 against 2, and it was that's changed a lot as well. I mean, Jones was gradually picking up the tempo, although they also did not do very well to counteract Loka's being quite slow with the quadruple 60 TPs, but I can talk more about the 3rd game later, but that is why I think that ammo rank was so important.
Well, before you do, I just want to jump in with Aminet. I don't want, instead of people just looking at our garage, shall we play a replay from Yusuf? Go from the top and go down.
The waffle one?
Yeah, we've got that one at the top. Then we've got Let's go with that one first.
Okay.
First off, there we go.
Loading
That
that
way-
in.
That way, at least people aren't just looking at a Vickers rotating nicely in my garage. Sorry, carry on jacking every.
No,
Sorry.
one sec. We'll wait until we've got the countdown, and then we can continue talking for at least the duration of the replay.
Yes.
Bridget, may I ask a question? That is
You
not
may.
related
You've
to
just done that.
I would like to ask a third question.
Okay.
Why in God's green earth and also in everything that is holy do you have only 14 heat in your Vickers and nothing else?
Because I'm a fool, and I was playing around my ammunition. I haven't loaded it all back up yet.
Okay, I'm at battle. Are you ready?
Let's go.
3, 2, 1, play. Okay, here we go. Continue with the analytics. Analytics?
All right. I mean, I'm going to go for an overall.
Keep it short.
overview.
I want to talk as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do an overview of all the games I've seen so far. I think the first
Can we go
two.
game by game together?
Yes, let's do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
sounds
but I will go for an overview first. So that's kind of to sum up what I think happened here was. I think Jones, the first two games, they had an initial strat, but Loka just countered that. And the last two games was just Loka very strong at the foundations, doing the pressing move really well. That's kind of the what I've seen and why it meant that Loka got all the wins.
If you do an overview, I'd like to add one as well.
Yeah.
I think Amin had mentioned it. What I've noticed throughout all these 4 games was a lot of early bleeding every single game. Done by Loka against Jones, I mean. And I think
Yeah, and-
that really helped them later. Because it looked like Jones had a bit of cold hands there, not quite sure what to do sometimes.
Yeah, we can talk about the first game now, which, to be honest, I'm a bit underwhelmed. What do you think?
Would you like to elaborate why you
Elaborate on the underwound.
Yeah, so you saw like Jones was having a cap disadvantage, but for some reason they've kind of forgotten how to rotate in a cap disadvantage situation, and they only got like one tank just for getting C, and the rest of the tanks didn't quite make a move to support that tank. And obviously that means Loka knows which tank to focus, and that never looks like Jones is going to win with cap deficit. And I mean I've seen Jones do a lot better in the rotation, and I'm not sure what happened right here because I know that they can do much better, and it really looks like a beginner mistake to me.
To be honest, I find it a bit harsh, Jack, and a bit unfair.
Really?
Yes, it didn't work out for them, but
Yeah.
with basically the issue was they were crossing over, which is a normal thing to do,
Yeah.
and they basically paid for that because Loka anticipated that. I wouldn't call that a beginner's mistake. I'm pretty sure that I could not play as nearly as well against Loka as they did, regardless
Yeah,
of the
true.
outcome here.
Just to jump in. I mean, I did play against Loka in the PYS, and when they steamroll you, they no. They are very good at anticipating where you are going, and their positioning is fantastic. And the thing is, the Joneses are a great team, and Loka know they're an aggressive team. So I think they just anticipated that strat. Simple as that.
Yeah. But like also with the spots that they got, it kind of gave them the information they needed to know what they could do to lock it down.
But the thing is
So-
like, yeah. So go ahead.
Thank you. I thought I was gonna get talked over for 3 times. Bridget! One thing I want to mention about that first game also, which hasn't really been touched yet, is just the lineup and the way they played. Because first of all, they had triple E50M, which Loka, I mean, which I already found to be quite an interesting one. Because generally, do see mobile vehicles, but not free, especially when they had a Vickers as well, which was already pretty interesting. And then the fact that it was Loka who spawned north, getting D and C, and then Jones getting B and A and B, even though that's just spawn swapping.
It kind of was, yeah.
Which was really confusing, because I don't think I've ever seen that happening. So I think both teams were a little bit confused on what to do. Because generally you think of your own spawn, but they couldn't do that in that game, because they swapped. I think that might have caught especially Jones a bit off guard then.
I think also, like, if they knew with that lineup that Loka would focus on the D side, because that's the only thing that really makes sense. But had they try and capture C, they probably would have lost a tank trying to get that, with it basically Loka's focus fire on that side. But at the same time, not protecting it is kind of one of the things that made this game go towards Loka. Shall we start another Fujit?
I was about to say, which one shall we go through next?
Shall we go with the Chieftain T95 from Brian?
Yeah, why not? Let me just load it up.
Yeah, same.
Just out of interest, what time's the next game?
In about 35 minutes.
That's what I thought. That's
10
okay.
past.
I wasn't.
Yeah, 10 pounds.
I wasn't losing my marbles.
Not yet. Not for this. No.
You're gonna use them for fortune telling?
You'd be surprised.
I want to know.
No, marbles are in your head.
That all reminds me. Have you seen the movie Hook?
A long time ago.
Very disappointed if you hadn't, to be fair.
I mean, I gotta know what that movie's called in German, so let me have a look.
Oh dear God! It's with Robbie Williams as Peter Pan. It's a
And
fantastic.
Dustin Hoffman as Hook.
Yes. I'm at battle, by the way. Are you ready?
Yep, battle.
3, 2, 1, play.
I had that on the very old, what are they called? The ones where you had to wire them back with a pen. I had that movie on one of those.
It is a very old movie, but anyway, there's
I've watched it a
this
lot.
basically I forgot his name, but when his little brother he grows old, and at some point he's lost his marbles, and they basically make some wordplay about that. But then later on in Neverland, Peter Pan actually finds his marbles. It's really cute.
There you go. Look.
So there's still hope for you, Fujin.
There's always hope.
We can find
I
your
think I
marbles.
just found my marbles. Because that's been like, oh my god, when is the last time I saw that movie? Like 12 years ago?
Oh, I need to watch that again, honestly. It's pure nostalgia for me. And it's usually on TV around Christmas here, so I'm actually going to definitely look that up.
Is it?
Anyway, so
yeah,
what about
sorry.
what about the second game, guys?
Yes.
Come on, analytics, do your job. Put your finger up.
I mean, you were not there. Oh, anyway. I think second game. I think second game is Loka doing really well. I mean, Jones had an initial strat. Like they had an idea. They wanted to go to their positions, but it's not their fault that they're doing this. But Loka simply thwarted what Jones was doing, and
Yes.
when Loka just led a lot of HP away from Jones, they also had the high ground advantage. That there is really nothing that Jones could do in order to make a comeback, and Loka made sure that they're not going to lose too many hit points or to sit too comfortably, and it was a really well-read game by Loka, but by no means Jones did a bad job. They were caught off guard, to be honest.
Yeah. Exactly that. But that's kind of like the thing I feel for all this game, not just the second one. That was basically what just kept happening.
Yeah.
I think I can agree with that, because it's really just interpretational positional play, which is basically what you said. And especially because it was basically a fight in the riverbed. or just a brawl out. Because Loka also had tanks up top at A, I believe. And having that extra angle, I think, really helped them out there compared to Jones's position, which was really caught off guard. I mean, I'm just surprised that Grill was down there, to be honest.
He was kind of forced to. He was behind the building
Yeah.
at first, but he got shot from too many sides. He had to move or die instantly.
Yeah,
That's
that, I mean,
bringing
that was
them
and that's the thing. I mean, when we were looking at that game, I mean, the move by Fantastic was like a feint. So they were, I think the Loka guys were sort of feinting them out, thinking that the Joneses anticipating a big heavy push through the canal like they did, and they just didn't do that. The Loka guys went higher, and then poor old Tomeo in the grill had no choice. He had to drop, and as soon as he dropped, then it was sort of it wasn't game over for him, but he had Vickers in support, and the Vickers just couldn't do it, could they?
Yeah, I mean that's also the problem. Not really the problem, but like that's a risk that you would have to take when you take a griller. Basically, if you can't get to A quickly enough, if you get bled a lot, then that griller will be rendered useless. Well, not useless, but a lot less useful.
It's a very juicy tank.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that when it's there, it's gonna get focused.
Yep.
But as we said when we were watching it, I mean that move from Fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
IS7 spotting up so many tanks. It was just fantastic to watch. I mean, I did not anticipate him doing that, to be fair.
So what about game 3, the one with that ammo rack?
Oh,
And yes, I'm not gonna focus like on all the ammo racks. Don't get me wrong. With IS7s and 60Ps, I expect it to happen. I did not expect it.
I don't think anyone did, to be perfectly fair.
Well, what I say the third game, I was so rooting for Jones because I think they had done pretty much a lot of things right. I was a bit doubtful whether Loka's the quadruple 60 TPs being so stuck together, but I mean allowed the tank that was near B to bleed so much that I have a feeling that they have made that push a bit too late. But Loka really showed those quadruple 60 TPs, their firepower makes all the difference. While Jones, I think Jones almost got it. Like they isolated the tanks effectively, but it appears like they have lost more hit points than expected around A area, and probably the focus fire was, I don't know if it's lacking, because I couldn't really see what happened there. But but it looked like Jones was winning, but for some reason Loka got it back in the end. And all as I said before, the ammo rack was very important because Jones was at that time that both teams very close in hit points. Jones was trying to create two fights of equal numbers, and that ammo rack really put their strategy off the bed. And also Loka has better focus fire overall in this match.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that as well, actually, with the focus fire, because, like I mentioned at the beginning, it's just they've been shipping hit points early on really well, but I was worried what that clump was gonna do pushing through the middle on the temple, because most often than not, when I've seen that happen, it doesn't quite work out. So, general belief is it wasn't gonna work again this time. And like you said, Jack, it really looked good for Jones, but it just didn't end up being their game in the end. Loka just really was able to get that back. And that Amarak helped.
Yeah, and it really looked, and it is also the best game of Jones tonight so far. And I'm really, I'm really heartbroken that they didn't get it. Which,
Yeah, I mean, sorry, just going to jump in. Andy has told me it was Two Tools who lost his marbles in Peter Pan. Sorry.
Thank you so much, because this is basically when I was a lot younger. There was this game from Harry Potter, the first one, and you learned 4 spells there. I remember that I was at the sleepover with a friend, and we couldn't remember one of the spells, and we literally browsed through the books to try and find that spell. So I'm really glad to know this now, because otherwise I would have had issues later.
Oh dear me.
Oh.
I mean, no, I mean, the third game, the first one on
Yeah.
Mine Rooms, I thought was Jones's best game, to be fair. I mean, Ghosty was there in the E100, but I think he was more... I don't think he was expecting a lot of 60 TPs to be there, but once they realised they were there, I think he was more bait than anything else. The reason I say that is because I was watching, Gaseo and, who was it, Deneo, holding back in those 50Bs, just waiting for those 60Ps to move. And, I really thought the Joneses were going to bring that one back. But the focus fire from Loka was just exceptional, to be fair.
And don't forget that with the 60 TPs, they pack such a wallop. That's like 600 HP on average disappearing if they pen you.
Mm-hmm.
With tungsten.
Who next? Shall we do Wild Ones Alper in the Kranwagen? As he seems to think it's still... the first Kranwagen, the one below Totalis. Because he sent like 2 Kranwagens, because he spammed it.
You mean like the one from the 20th?
Yeah, the 20th.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's do that one.
Let's do that one.
I like how we're syncing replays. Like, we're not actually commentating on them or anything, but if we want to, we can.
Yeah.
But you don't.
Yes.
No, because we're listening to
You
you.
choose
We're still
not to.
talking about the matches.
Yeah, because you're about to tell us about the final game on Mine Ruins. Come on, Analytics, pull your finger out.
Oh, wow.
Well, I would like to agree that the game beforehand was the best from Jones. And it really was a showing in the last one that I think it might have been a bit of a mental state as well. Just losing 3 games in a row, maybe you got into it with cold hands. You're playing on the biggest stage for the EU server right now, and you're gonna be under pressure. I mean, some of these players obviously have experienced it before, like Gaseo, who's been in the scene for a while, but other players on the team probably haven't. And
Also, sorry, I'm at battle. Are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I was just waiting for
3,
you.
2, 1, play. Okay,
Nice.
continue.
And I think in the end it just got down to a lot of individual skill of just Loka playing better as a team than Jones did. But I think Jack has more technical insight, like he always does.
Yeah, I think Loka, I have to give huge credit to Loka. I think that's probably the best game from Loka in this matchup. First of all, great setup of bait from Loka on B.
God,
like,
yeah.
That was really good. Although, like, we've seen a lot of teams going to B very quickly at the start, but the how Loka set up the bait at B was really great to watch, and it bled Gaseo Jones a lot, and I think that kind of put Jones into a bit of a disarray. But it's not just that bait, because I think it's easy to overlook how great Loka has done with the pressing following the capture of B. And that meant that Jones had literally nowhere to rotate, and while they do the rotation, they also bled quite a few hit points. And for that, and already Loka has a lot more hit points, and with Loka having more hit points, having better positions, having more cap points, Jones was on the back foot, but they still showed some extraordinary resilience. And but this game really, Loka did a lot of things right.
Yeah, I thought Moroz getting into that position was a bit cheeky, and I didn't think he was going to get away with it. But boy, did he get away with it, suckering poor old Gaseo in that 60 TP round the corner, as you said. And I mean, I didn't expect to see so many 60 TP guns aimed at poor old Gaseo and almost whittled him out of the game very early. And I think you're right, Jack. I think it sort of threw the Joneses a little bit, and they had to react. They had no choice.
Do you think like this is a weakness of them training together and all? As in, because these teams, they will have been training against each other. And this was a match where it just feels like Jones was outthought at every turn.
Yeah, there could be something in that, because you're right. I mean, they do train together. And obviously they don't use their strats, but they get to know each other's play style. And these guys play random platoons as well together. So they generally know how each other plays to an extent. And it wouldn't surprise me if Joneses have a strat. Well, they don't. They have more than one strat for each spawn on each map. And then when Loka see that lineup, they just, because they play the same game at the same level, they sat there going, right, guys, well, they're going to go there, so we need to go here and we need to do that, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of that could come through from training together in that anticipation side.
I think that might.
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Go on.
And I mean, Loka is also a lot more experienced in tournaments. Though Jones, there are a lot of players there which have a lot of experience playing in really good clans before. But from the matches we've seen so far, it seems Loka reacted a lot better, while Jones was trying to rely on their initial strats, particularly the first two matches, where they try to hope that initial strat will give them the advantage, which in the end didn't. Loka, all in all, just somewhat better foundations, and also they reacted better, which I think made all the difference for Loka here.
I really wonder how this would have gone if the Joneses had been as seasoned as Loka.
It would have been a lot different. I would
Yeah.
say.
I mean, going back and looking at both the previous skill and the Pro Tour, I mean, it seemed like the Jones like fluid gameplay. They like that sort of try and catch deer in the headlights, so to speak. And Loka just didn't give them the opportunity today. And you can see with the lineup on there, on the first two maps, more than the other two maps, more than the Mayan Ruins, they took a very mobile lineup, and basically Loka just denied them that fluidity that they normally like, and I think
So
that threw them a little bit.
I can't believe you won that game, Jack.
No,
That
not
was
me.
ridiculous.
Hey,
Right,
don't spoil me. Come on.
I mean, also, I agree with Fujit halfway through the matches that I also think Jones, they look a lot more nervous than than Loka. And that also played a huge part. And that could also explain why some teams look like... It doesn't look like them, but that psychological effect played a huge role. So if you see people making like some moves that looks a bit weird, could also be the nerves, which I believe Jones suffered this problem a little bit more, though they are still pretty robust. After all, they were top 4 in the EU server in a really competitive professionals tournament. They have fought really hard and they deserved everything to be in the top 4. But sometimes the nerves really could have a huge effect.
Definitely. I
Who's
really
next,
hope we will
Emma?
have regrouped by the next match.
Yeah.
Who's next, replay wise?
Let's see.
Me.
Shall we do the T26E5 from Totalis?
Yeah, let's do that.
Avery, what do you think about what we said?
The
I
upcoming
mean,
match.
I literally was the first one to say that nerves probably wasn't a factor here, Jack.
Interesting. Why?
Did you listen to what he said, Jack?
I don't think he actually did, no.
What? You said you would disagree with me, isn't it?
No, he literally said that he was the first one to say the nerves thing.
Oh, really?
And then you asked, interesting, why?
Oh, no. No, I think I heard that when Fujit was commentating during the matches.
No, but he even... Never mind, doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm at battle. Are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1, go. So what do you think about the next matchup? Yes, we have like 10 minutes before the room invite will be up. And we will have BPS versus EG.
And I want to hear from Peter first, because he knows endgame.
Yes.
I mean,
Why are you putting me on the spot now, Fuji?
Because I wanted to, because it sounded like a good idea at the time, but now you're sort of making it sound like we shouldn't have done it.
don't worry about it. No, I think we're gonna, just in general, have a great game ahead of ourselves, right? Because that's always how we can expect these things to go at the Blitzcup. But these two teams, in particular, it's gonna be quite interesting because Endgame is, to me at least, always been that let's play chaotic or just stress our opponent out as much as we can, and just play our style and not let the enemy do what they would like to. At least that's what it looks like to me. Whilst BPS is, I think, a lot similar to the more usual gameplay that EU shows, very clinical, just very observant. What are the enemies doing? What are we actually doing? What do we want to do? So I think just that matchup of, I wouldn't quite say ideals, but just the way they play, move, and think is going to be the most interesting part here.
Jack, before you jump in, I want to ask you a question.
Oh dear.
So do you think it's a serious question? I mean, you watched all the previous skills, you streamed some of them, you did the Pro Tour as well. Do you think Endgame were firing on all 4 cylinders through those tours, getting in? I mean, they got into the top 4. I mean, because they're Endgame, but do you think there was something lacking from their sort of normal gameplay, or do you think that was just a ruse and we're going to see the usually destructive Endgame?
I think it really depends on the situation, really. When like the stakes are at hand, then they would perform to their to a really good standard. But when it's like there is really nothing much at stake, then they'll probably lose a little bit. Maybe they will go a little bit more experimental, something like that. But that's not just Endgame. I believe a lot all the top 4 clients we are seeing here also do something similar.
And Peter, I wanted to ask you the same thing, but in a different vein, because obviously you know Endgame better than I do. Previously, we've seen Endgames try to they always look a bit laid back in the previous skills. I mean, in one of the previous skills, they actually missed one of the previous skills. That's how laid back they are. And there is this understanding, I don't know if it's fact or fiction, myth or fantasy, that they don't actually train. Endgame don't actually train as such.
You know, I don't actually have that insight. I will not be able to give you any answer to that. I could ask, probably. I don't know how fast I'd get an answer. But
I don't believe they do know, mainly because that's also why I understand what you meant with asking about the 4-cylinder stuff. Because there have been days where they feel pretty off, and I think that might have to do with the non-training. They're a very solid team with very solid players, but if you don't train as a team, I do feel that gives you a disadvantage.
Yeah. They're definitely a very on-the-spot thinker. At least that's what Nico or Color Purple, or I don't know if he changed it again.
He uses his name all the time. They all do.
Or just the players in general. Just how I perceive them as. Winch is another one of those. He's probably the biggest curveball that Endgame has to offer, because he's either gonna perform, or he doesn't want to play the game that day. That's what it looks like. So,
and he can be such a legend.
Which, yeah, I mean...
So it's always an up and down battle, which I think is also their biggest weakness. It's just that unpredictability, but also, well, crap, what are we gonna do now?
It makes them less consistent.
Yeah, that's the word I couldn't find, thank you. So, it will be interesting if there's a way for BPS to maybe exploit that.
But, I mean, Endgame always seem to have this knack of pulling out the best at the big tournaments, to be fair.
Shall we do one more, by the way?
Yeah, I was going to say, which one shall we do next?
Shall we do the first Yo of Tommy, the one at 0032?
First Yo. 0032, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
By the way, you can't say times, because different time zones.
No, but
that was
on the replay it's not.
Yeah, on the replay it comes out.
Oh, on the replay, okay.
Yeah, so basically I got 3 Yo replays from Tommy. So this is basically the best way to determine which one we should use.
Anyway,
That was
carry
the other
on.
thing. The other thing I was going to ask you all is BPS. I mean, BPS is filled with very experienced, fantastic players, and they've been building and building over time. And we see sometimes that they're very aggressive, sometimes they're not so aggressive, sometimes they think a lot. What do you think? I mean, what do you think of BPS? Yeah, I'm at Battle 2, so...
3, 2, 1, play.
If I could,
I mean, what...
go
I was
ahead
going to say,
and
what?
finish that.
Yeah, what sort of BPS do you think we're going to see today?
It's quite interesting because from what I've noticed, the lineup or the roster changed quite a bit over time. New members coming in, others dropping out. The usual stuff you see with teams happening, right? They evolve. Well, maybe some backwards, but they evolve. And for BPS, it's always a matter of who's in the team right now, because they can be different to 3 or 4 weeks ago when they maybe had 1 or 2 players that were different. And I think it can be considered a strength that they're able to pull out the best of what a player is capable of. But that also means you're limited to what you can do exactly in the battlefield.
Also, just I kind of expect and this is gonna sound weird, an EG-ish BPS, like with the testing the waters with each other and trying to catch each other off guard, because that's the best way to win against EG. But at the same time, that's also how EG wins, as in by them doing that or the enemy doing that against them. And I think it's gonna depend a lot on who catches who off guard first.
Oh, I feel like we're going to see a very tactical BPS anyhow. And maybe in ways that we have never seen before, because that is what BPS is capable of.
But
And
yeah,
the
but
end
do you
game as
think
well.
do you think that could backfire maybe? Because
Yes.
if we always see a different BPS, will they have trained enough as that different BPS to be able to play consistently?
Maybe.
It's a kind of like the no guts, no glory, big risk, big reward thing. Because that is basically happening for both these teams here. The only thing is that EG in a very steady OP clan. And BPS is newer in that form, so that could be a risk for them more than for EG.
I mean, no, it does, because it does, yeah. I mean, don't forget, I mean, BPS bring a shed load of experience. I mean, they've got some truly gifted tournament players with oodles of experience in there, and they've got a lot of players who are exceptional callers. I mean, we've got there's Whoopsie, there's Zerd. It's going to be an interesting one, I think.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked you the questions, because I'm intrigued to see which BPS is going to turn up.
Yes,
Cool,
for sure.
the calculating one or the ultra aggressive one. That's the thing.
I was watching this replay and I was seeing the damage and I was like, how is this an ace? But it isn't, so that explains it.
It does explain it, because
It was a good
I was
aggressive
with
game,
you. Yeah, I was with you thinking, okay.
No, but it was a good team play game, so I don't mind
Yeah.
that.
2 cases.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the room now. I'm not going to show another replay.
right.
Same.
But talking about the maps, we're going to be seeing once again.
Yes.
Endgame seems to be better than BPS in all of these maps, except maybe Yukon. And my ruins, they were very, very close with one another. Potentially that could make some difference. But I will be a bit too, too quick to decide it's going to be Endgame's game, because as we know, both teams have a lot to offer, and both teams are quite similar in terms of like how strong they are and even how similar they play.
Sorry, can you be a bit more accurate for me? I'm too much of a color-issued person to be able to understand.
What's the difference between them? As in, like on Canal?
Yeah.
No, I can't even.
No.
It's
I
a
mean,
bit of a
like,
difference. I
win
don't
rate
even know
wise.
what color, what team.
Oh. I know, but I mean, like win rate wise, Jack can tell us what win rates are they both on for Canal, roughly.
They are both, I mean, BPS around 70, or thereabouts, end game around 10% more. So
That is very close.
that's still close, but it's,
Yeah, but 80% on Canal is massive, considering
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
a lot of teams struggle, especially on this one, since it's always, especially if it's one of the first or one of the last maps, which it usually is. Also, nice hammer rack from that Yo replay we just saw.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But the thing is, I mean, sometimes, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the stats side of it, but sometimes the stats.
Going to be interesting because again, this is also the thing. Like the tactics that we've seen for the autumn season so far are not going to be the same tactics we see now. Not
Yeah.
just because we have a new tier 10 tanks that is very, very meta, but just also they won't have shown us their trump cards yet.
yeah.
And that's the thing, and as we all know, one of the problems with facing endgame is that they think outside the box a lot, and it does throw a curveball a lot.
Also, at the same time, I think we kind of forgot that sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
Which sometimes, if you don't think too much about what you expect from the enemies or what you want to achieve, if you put your team to be a more reactionary team, because sometimes that could actually work in favor of you. So I do see that happen to both teams. Like we might expect them to do something really extraordinary, but there is also a chance that is going to be like a typical game, or I don't know how to put it in better words, like things that you have seen before. Like it's
But
the
that's the
usual
mind
stuff.
game that's going to happen here. And to be
Yeah.
fair, that's one of the things I look forward to the most, especially with these two teams. Like EG being very settled, like year-long favorite, years plural favorites, versus Zert's team with very epic players, with multiple callers and everything, and just seeing how that goes. I can't say I think, but I hope for an outthinking game. Basically, still the finals of 2019 on the offline, Oefenjaars versus Mo, that is still the best gameplay I've ever seen, because you could see in the gameplay that they're trying to outthink each other, and that was just fantastic. And any gameplay like that really gets my juices going. I absolutely love that. So that's always the sort of gameplay I'm going to be rooting for.
I'm just looking at the lineups, not from the tanks. I'm looking at the player lineups, and it's just a hall of fame. I mean, we got Endgame,
Yes.
we got Nicolade, De Silva, Carolade, Last AFK, Shock, Winch, Orca, and then you go over to BPS. You got Zerd, General, Radikos, another subhuman. I don't know which one that is. Whoopsie, the F, Object 3. It is a hall of fame on the
legends.
EU server. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think one-
Foxy, I'm not forgetting you, but you sat on the bench.
Yes.
But I'm not forgetting you, poor Foxy.
And I have Anya Shai and Romka on the bench here, which basically it's
unbelievable.
legends.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I think one the other subhuman is probably NG.
That's what I'm thinking. But
Yeah.
I didn't want to say because I haven't looked on Blitzstars to see what he changed
also,
his name to.
can we be a bit more careful with our wording, because people might misunderstand.
Which one?
To be honest,
Yeah,
to be
subhuman
sub-
is their names. There's nothing we can do about it. We're not trying to be insulting. People have been
I
trolling
know,
with
I
names
know that.
for years.
But
No,
Jack
but-
said, I think the other subhuman is angry. And that can be taken out of context.
Yes. Well, obviously not meant like that. But basically, this is one of the things I both love and hate the pro players for that, because they always troll with names. And
And-
yeah,
and-
I'm not gonna name examples for most of them, but the medics, midics, modocs, maddox,
no.
midics, etc. That is still like the legendary name troll for me.
We haven't had anything like that on EU yet. So
Thank God,
I'm just,
no.
I'm just
One
showing,
of the
I'm just
teams
showing the,
upgrading.
just
Well, we
showing the people on
almost-
YouTube that Object 3 really does have a genuine 81.66%.
Maybe show his
win
most
rate.
played tank as well. How
He's
about that?
legendary. Like
Yeah.
they all are. But it's just, this is like, I'm kind of fangirling here, because these are players that I,
Once we're on the
Seriously,
topic, who's your
I-
favorite player between these two teams? Not biased for any teams, but player.
Zerd.
Alright, Fujit.
It's tough for me because I like the game style of Winch and Orca. To be fair, I do like their game style, but I also like F in Object 3 and Whoopsie.
I asked you for your favorite, which means
Basically,
I don't have-
we're not
I
talking
don't-
in
But
team
I don't
thing.
really have a favourite. That's the problem. You know,
moving
I
on,
mean,
Jack.
Okay,
what about
no,
you?
no. We're at 3 seconds. We're going to go into the battle now. You mute
Bye.
yourselves.
Goodbye.
We'll see you after the matches. Basically, I love all these players. The reason that I say Zerd here is because A, we've talked a lot over the years about the tournament scene and everything. The Zerd curse, of course, is something that comes to play, and he's
And
a
it's
phenomenal
real.
caller. There's more of them, but that is why, of these players, if I have to pick a favorite, then that would be the favorite for me.
and here we go straight away. I mean, we've got 3 50Ms, pretty much like we saw with Loka, heading towards that decap for BPS, and their head is going towards the B. And again, C cap being ignored.
And it's going to be interesting because that's going to give them, and again, this is going to give BPS a cap advantage. And those IS-7, ooh, that was a great decap there. That was amazing. Very well done.
I really didn't think De Silva was going to get that shot into that bottom plate, but boy, did he. Unbelievable.
And that's going to give EG a cap advantage because they're now capping base A earlier. The IS-7s are pretty much stuck where they are and they can't get out of there and they're going to bleed a little bit. But there's nothing they can do about that. Which is honestly, it's fine. Because they have the cap advantage, however slight it is.
They do, and the other thing we were saying, that endgame thinking outside the box. Look at these AMX 50Bs of Nick and Shock. I mean, they're just holding back, and now they're moving round towards that decap.
Caronade making a very ballsy move here. But
But
they
it
is going to
works.
get Radicals and Subhuman, one of them.
Well, Subhuman's got no choice. He's got to push through, and
Yeah.
Radikos has got to get safe as well.
This is cheeky from EG. Like now we have Whoopsie moving in to try and help Subhuman. The other Subhuman is also moving. Why do they have the same name, honestly?
But yeah, exactly. But the thing is, look at the way EG have pushed them out of the B cap. General
Yeah.
caught out in the open. General gone.
That was brutal.
Wow.
And Orca
Okay.
is not going to be long for this world either. I don't think he's going to get out of here. There you are. But look at the amount of HP. The difference between them already. The difference between... Oh, Lost just got absolutely massacred
Wrecked. That was a ram. That was a ram.
Nicolate now caught off guard and caught out.
What a ram that was. But Subhuman. Oh. I don't know which
He's
Subhuman it
beaten
is.
up.
It's a Subhuman. He's gone down. He's really low. And look at the hit points favouring endgame. Bases favouring endgame. They haven't got the guns, but they do have everything else.
This is going to be so cheeky. That was a 6 HP shot. But that was a great hit by Object 3 on Nicolate there.
Object 3 should be banned from playing 268, to be fair.
No, never. He should always play it.
Whoa,
Faraday has to be careful there. He's in
Absolutely.
a tank.
Object 3 is trying to get round. Oh, thank you very much, Sonna Schmidt. That is so kind of you.
Yeah,
God, look at
basically
this.
now they're just dug in. All they need to do is hold. HP wise, they have a big advantage. Base wise, cap wise, that's only going to go up for EG there.
The thing is that EG are looking for Whoopsie and Subhuman, which I believe that's Zerd, because they are the easy targets, but they've got good cover. Object 3 is in a very nice position just in case anybody tries to push.
Yeah, and that's why the rest of EG can't really do much of anything. But the thing is, they don't have to.
Correct.
All
They've
they need
got
to
the
do
points.
is hold.
And I can see F is trying to maneuver himself over there. He's spotted up Winch. I don't think the F can push out though because Shock is there in that 50B. But the F
Yeah,
is
but he
looking
doesn't
for
know
ways
that.
and means. No, he doesn't. He's looking for mate. He does now. Shock is moving in onto Whoopsie. Oh, he
that's
bounces.
not running.
No. But
That
he gets
was a
safe.
field one.
But he does get safe. Now Winch is coming in.
Object 3
Dangerous!
is basically, this is the thing. I think Object 3 moving from that position might have cost them the game there.
Winch is so dangerous in that Vickers, and that was a great move, well timed, and this is looking fantastic for Endgame.
He survives that shot.
I can't believe that. How? Unbelievable game.
And really, Object 3 going around to try and catch Carolade there.
And he does.
He
It's
does,
not
he
over
does.
yet. It is not over yet.
Basically
Chocolate-
being kept.
Well, yeah, but
Nicolade
Chocolate
needs
is
to
the,
stay alive.
exactly. Chocolate is the only one who is not a one shot in this game.
Very... Oh! Overextending.
Shock has got to stay safe. He has got to hold on to those hit points. And he's not.
Ooh, this is-
Object may be able to take him down.
Oh no!
Oh,
That is
what a
vital.
tussle. That
That
was
is vital.
absolutely
Look at this,
vital.
look at
Now
this.
comes Nico. Look at this. Trying to pincer poor old the F. F doing a great move. Oh, my life.
Nicolade actually going for that, even though this... No!
No!
It's the game!
My life. He shouldn't have done that. What a fantastic game that was. I really thought Endgame had that. What a comeback from BPS.
I have to say, though, that I feel the only reason EG lost this is because in the end, they weren't careful enough with their one-shots. Winch did not need to be there, for
No,
instance.
no.
And there were
no.
a few little things like that, where shots happened that didn't need to happen. It kind of looked like, they call it, in Dutch, they call it panic football.
No,
of like-
yeah, it's the same sort of thing, yeah. But
And
wow.
it's not saying that EG like is panicking because they're not like that, but there were just like little mistakes in the intensity of the battle.
I can just.
What a game.
I'm sat here now thinking of the massive cheeky grin sat on the F's face. Because he should not have
Oh my
survived.
That was amazing, not gonna lie, really amazing.
He should not have survived that. I mean, you would have thought, well, Nico's got his ammunition loaded. You know, he gets a good shot into the F there. That I just can't believe that just happened.
Oh my god, no. And now we're
What
going to
a
get ready for
game.
the second game, and we see a mouse being taken out by EG.
Mm-hmm.
That is risky, and I'm not saying risky, but mainly like not risky in the way of that tank is gonna get wrecked or anything, but it's slow, it's cumbersome. Canal is one of the biggest maps we have. It's risky.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Not gonna lie, by the way,
Oh.
this is exactly why I was so looking forwards to not just this matchup, but EU as a whole. These kind of games, like honestly.
This is fantastic stuff.
Yes.
This is what we expected at this level. Boy,
Yeah.
we knew they weren't going to let us down. They were going to give us a great show. Oh, I'm still getting over the last game.
Yeah.
This
But
is
that's
not
also,
fair.
that's gotta feel so good for BPS. Like we know
Unbelievably
they
good.
can do that, but pulling a win from that position that they were in, to me it really looked like the 268, basically Object 3 going after Nicolade. Not sure if it was Nicolade, but going after the IS-7 like that is actually
Mm-hmm.
what cost them the game, and then he didn't.
Totally. And look at this, BPS very aggressively through the canal area with the 60 TPs going over the top, trying to catch Endgame on the hop.
I just want to comment on the fact that the gameplay on Canal has evolved so much.
Oh yeah.
It's no longer the lockdown version. Basically, they found the anti-lockdown. And it is very cheeky. Look at the Silva, where he's at. He's bait there. He's not there to do
Yeah.
anything. He just has
No.
to be there.
He's there to take guns out and decap if possible.
Yeah. And both teams are bleeding a little bit here. Base D
They
has
are-
been kept.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, I mean, Endgame, I mean, BPS were trying to take C, but Endgame with those IS-7s of Winch and Caro just managed to push BPS out of there.
No one has gone for A, which is interesting on its own. We have the 268 basically hovering near-ish base C to push there if need be. But the fact that no one has gone for A means that
I
the point advantage for each is just growing.
Yeah, I mean, they do have some mobile heavies there with the 50Bs, but the mobility is certainly on endgame side here.
Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily need to be an advantage. Like, usually it would be on a map this size. But we've seen that last time we were seeing actually on Canal, it not necessarily.
That's true. Now this, I mean, last AFK is over the side, but De Silva, if De Silva catches on that they've moved out of that B cap area.
Yeah, but he
interesting.
steals a lot of basically. They're still there to make a move if they need to, but they also know that base C is not an option. And look at this stack up at BPS at C.
Yeah, but look at endgame Z. Look at the endgame stack up on the back of the map.
Winch
I mean, when they
senses
come,
it. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, it's unbelievable. And De Silva is now dropping into that D cap.
No, they're ignoring the cap. They're going to go for shots, and we see lots of shots happening every which way. Nicolade not too healthy here.
Nor's Carolade, to be fair. But nor is Radikos.
They're focusing on Winch here. Oh, that shot not heading.
Oh no!
Making a lot of difference there.
Down goes Carolade.
Winch might get another shot in, but that's going to be it for him.
But Whoops is now in trouble. De Silva has come right round. Good flanking move with a mouse.
That's two words you don't expect to hear together. Flanking
Absolutely.
move. Mouse.
In a mouse.
To be fair, that's more words than two, but you get me.
Oh, that was a great shot coming across from the AM. Oh! That's going to change the dynamic.
Still alive. He can now safely cap base C because they can't uncap him anymore there. Nicolade is almost gone. We have the 60 TPs making sure that WPC stays alive basically. And all of EG is stacked at base D and they can't really get out of there.
I don't know. BPS now know they've got soft targets, to be fair. And look at the F coming around the side, trying to get onto Nico.
Yeah, but not just that. Like, the HP difference is too big. They can just really push in, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Absolutely. They've got soft skin targets to aim at. Object 3 is going to put a massive roll in, and he does.
Wow, that was brutal.
And last AFK.
Last one.
Is the last man standing.
I was just going to say, who's going to hug him to death, but no.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, I think BPS, after that first game, they've got the bit between their teeth. They're feeling it.
Yeah, but I think it's also sort of like unnerved EG here. Because this is 2 battles in a row that they lost in a way that they did not expect. They had that advantage. They had all the advantage. And BPS was just like, nope.
This is.
I love it.
Fair play to BPS. I mean, they controlled. Now, normally we say endgame control the map, but in this instance, BPS controlled the map there. They controlled Canal in that second game and really put. Well, they really took the game to endgame, and endgame really had no response to it in that particular matchup. And I think, you know, as we were saying earlier, they're not firing on all full cylinders. They were in the first game. But I think that knocked the wind out of them a little bit. I think you're right there.
Hoping that they can get like a renewed mindset for this game, like the next map. New map, new lineup, new everything. Except the teams. And it just... Basically, the games, they are close. But it's sort of like at some point there's this tipping point. And then it just all collapses. But until that tipping point, it is so intense.
And looking at the lineups here, very traditional from both teams.
Yeah. And then kind of basically tank versus tank. I think BPS has the advantage here because AMXs are juicy. They will work as long as they can keep the tank safe. And so far, we've not seen a single AMX stay safe.
That's true, but endgame are spawning on the north side, which allows them to keep those 50Bs just at the back near their spawn, able to be like a coiled spring and ready to sort of plug holes where they need to if BPS overextend.
So let's see how this is going to go. So many 60TPs.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's... You know, when it first came out, a lot of people said it was never going to be a tournament tank. Well, I think this Blitzcup has put pay to that.
To be fair, this is exactly why I'm against Wargaming releasing tank lines amidst a tournament season like this. At least they do that straight in between the professionals or whatever. But I'm never a fan of new tank line being released during a tournament season, especially not when they're meta. And this was like clearly going to be an E100's replacement or more, and it's turned out to be more, way more.
I mean, look at this. I mean, this is we're seeing similar gameplay to what we saw in the second game between Loka and Joneses here. Whoopsie in the position Moroz was in. The 50Bs in the same position as Deneo and Gaseo were in. It's interesting. Almost similar strats. Almost.
It's being more, basically that just means it's more about the player and the individual skills. Carolade losing a little bit of HP there. Nice shot by Radikos.
Carolade should be able to get that A cap.
Now we have the AMX 50Bs there. They're expecting some form of push at base A, but those AMXs want to stay hidden until the last moment.
But I mean, last AFK, if he spotted a 60 TP. If he can spot more, no, he's getting out there now. I thought it may have given the chance for those 50Bs in the IS-7 of Endgame to push down that flank, but again, those 50Bs just holding back. This time, just by the A cap, ready to plug any gaps.
They're trying to bait Radicals here, but he's not taking that bait. He's saying
no,
where he
he's
is.
not. Yeah. And last AFK and Nico are sort of trying to force the hand of the 60 TPs as well. And Subhuman has dropped into the C cap, but Endgame still have the advantage here. And they are doing that push, yes.
Oh, big hits in the F there. Radicals getting pushed hard as well. They need to pull back really hard, but that's going to be the end of Radicals.
And you're right. And you saw that, I mean, Whoopsie now coming in to plug the hole as De Silva and the 60 TPs going through the middle, trying to cut Endgame in half.
Now I think Object 3 is like really overextending there. We have Nicolade arriving at the back, being able to get some juicy shots there.
Oh! Yeah, I think they were trying to cut them, but last AFK has got good shots in. Winchake is exposed, and down he goes.
But Silva's in a tight corner there, but F has been taken out as well. It's going to be all about the focus fire. EG still has the HP advantage. Gun-wise, it's going up pretty evenly. That was another fire, I believe.
Yeah, it was. But look at this on Shock. Is he going to be able to reload in time to beat Subhuman? If he does, he could really hurt Subhuman here.
Now he's trying to shoot behind him. But basically, Shock is not going... Oof, that was...
Oh, Orca comes straight in there, sharing his hit points and getting rid of Subhuman. That was great play. Now look at Nico going around the back. Object 3 is going to go, surely.
3 versus 3. General almost reloaded. Orca now being at a reload. That's going to be the end of him soon.
Nico, can he finish off? Can he finish off General? No, he's not loaded in time.
Look at that. Orca is just chasing him.
Oh!
Out reloading him. 2 versus 2. 1 versus 2.
Nico is very healthy. Not surprised that Nico is going to go for Whoopsie here.
Yeah, but they have to be well, basically Nico has to be careful here, because if they team up against him together, they know he's on a reload now.
They do?
And
that's a big roll, yeah.
Now we're Whoopsie protecting. And he's still not reloaded.
Oh, he must have lost his... He hasn't... Did he lose his loader? I couldn't see if he lost his loader or not. Wow.
I did not pay attention to that, but it took him a very long time to reload. But that was, again... These games, though, they're very close, and so far BPS is 1-3, so they're now up for match points, again. But the games are so close.
But the thing is there, I mean, it looked again, this time it looked like Endgame were going to turn it, but BPS really digging deep. Digging so deep.
it kind of feels like all the previous matches are having their effect. It's not like BPS pulled the rug straight from under their feet, but it's kind of like they're tugging, and EG is just losing more and more footing that way, because they seem a bit lost.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Compared
I mean,
to the EG we know, that is, I should say.
Yeah, couldn't disagree. I mean, endgame in the first game, they should have had that, and you know we know that. In this game here, the second game on Canal, that was BPS all the way. In this game, I thought endgame were going to turn it. It looked at one stage they were going to turn it, and BPS just really had to dig deep. And you know, at the end of the day, Whoopsie shielding there at the end was just a stroke of genius, because notwithstanding Nico probably losing his loader, which is why he was on a long reload.
I don't think he would have won that either way.
No, I don't.
Loader or no loader.
I don't think he would have, but he could have taken a tank out, and he could have hoped that the IS-7 was going to bounce.
Mm-hmm.
The IS-7 was
true.
more chance of bouncing than the 60 TP. So BPS really had to dig deep, and it's paid off. They're 3-0 up.
Let's see if they can bring it around. We have seen epic comebacks before. I've not lost hope yet.
It's endgame. I've seen them be 3-0 down and go on to win.
Exactly. But I have to say, BPS is being absolutely phenomenal here. Basically, I think it's more like they made EG overextend a little bit in that last game. Like, a little bit, but it was enough to keep their tanks alive that little bit longer that they needed.
But BPS now, I mean, BPS now will be seeing that there's a finish line in sight against endgame.
That can create errors.
It can, yes. You can get a little bit overconfident, potentially. And endgame have been here many, many times, as we said, and brought it back many, many times. They penalised. Romka has now come in for endgame, so Romka's a very experienced player at this level, and he's taken a very, very nice position here.
BPS at C, basically being quite cheeky here. EG is pushing on though. They are going to want to get the stragglers behind in their spawn. And this might be a very brutal game. Look at this, at Object 3.
It's absolutely, I mean, I'm just looking at, they didn't even bother with the A-cap, they just pushed straight through. Big bounce there.
But it's kind of like, yes, we're pushing. Oh no, we're not, actually.
I think the AMXs are waiting for, I think the AMX is just waiting for Object to fire, and now he's fired. Now they're moving in. Oh, wow!
But we see EG immediately responding, BPS immediately responding at the other side.
We do. And you're right, they are. Romka in trouble. BPS a tank down. Big tank as well. It was Object 3.
Both, there goes another one.
Oh! F goes down and Romka's still alive. Well, not for much longer. But there you go.
But now they're going to go after Whoopsie again. Full armor of the IS-7 proving itself. Winch is almost out for the count. But it is still relatively close.
It is. I mean, Winch goes down there.
HP-wise, EG has the advantage, but they've been having that for a long time, and that bounce by Nicolate there could be vital.
There you go. It could be vital. Shock is going down to try and take Subhuman.
Yeah, but Carolate goes down first. They had a gun
coming
advantage,
round.
and
They did. They haven't now.
have to also commend BPS on their hit point sharing. The way that they're just blocking shots from Nicolate and then putting away so that they can all shoot.
Nico losing 1,000 HP there as these three just trying to get him out of the game because Orca is on his long reload.
And Orca is juicy. Radicals has been taken out. It is 3 versus 3 HP wise. There's a big advantage for EG here.
There was.
There you go. Only
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. These 50 Bs. Yeah, go, Anna, please.
No, basically, the thing that, well, surprises is not the right word, because at this stage, everything surprises me, to be fair, not nothing. But the thing is that, so far, there have been all these 4 games look to be going in the direction of one team and turned out to go into the other, except the second game on Canal. But like, all of them have been like this, and it looks like to be going BPS's way after, and then nope. This is fantastic.
But wow, I mean, I was with you there. I thought, this is it. They've got Endgame on the ropes. BPS here. It's going to be really, really difficult for Endgame to turn this, and they turned it. they absolutely turned it.
It's amazing. These this is what I stream for. This is what I follow tournaments for. These kind of games, I absolutely love it. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing.
But this is the thing about Endgame. You think they're down and out, and then they pull out things like this. And BPS didn't really put too many feet wrong there. It was just tenacity of Endgame. I mean, sending those tanks around, and then, as you said, it looked like they're holding off on the push, but they were just waiting for Object 3 to fire. And then he got absolutely wrecked.
It's amazing. They still... Basically, BPS is still up for pressure for a match point though, so the pressure's going to be immense for EG. They have to win every single match. That being said, though, it is double elimination, so if they lose this, they still have a chance.
They do.
But oh my god!
I know, and I know we talked about this before. It's not generally a strat. They would be thinking, well, I'd rather go out with Joneses now and not face Loka in the first game tomorrow.
No, not with this top 4.
No, not with this top 4. I saw that.
We're gonna go to Naval Frontier. I'm surprised that BPS is not taking any fast tanks. Because and on a map like this, with the bases positioned as they are, that 907 can be an absolutely vital role.
And in the arms of someone like Nico, it can also be dangerous.
Yeah. To be fair, I would say that with everyone that could drive this tank in this matchup.
That's true.
That's the other tank they released mid-season, by the way. Which I'm also against, but yeah.
But I mean, this is only... This is day 1.
Yeah, but this is exactly it. This is the first time we legit can't call a winner for... today, or rather we can't say who's going to get knocked out first, because all these teams are like this. They're bloody awesome. Subhuman being very aggressive here. Oof, nice shot.
Yeah, but look at Ronka really pushing through.
Yeah.
Trying to catch Subhuman.
Oh, this is very cheeky.
Ronka, Carolade. Oh, Subhuman really caught on the back.
Ammo rack. That was a full health ammo rack.
Really was. Radikos goes down. Full health. Didn't see it, but I didn't, but I saw it pop up.
Exactly. That's the same for me. Oh my god, that's well, AMX aside, that's the first ammo rack we in the tank that we expected it to happen in. Subhuman still alive, Ronka being taken out like that is Subhuman being pretty vital here.
Yeah, but over the other side, the 60 TP's pushing down onto Whoopsie. General losing a load of HP. Last AFK and Winch here trying to put pressure on Whoopsie. Whoopsie should go down. There he goes.
He does. And there goes Carolade. Subhuman, still alive. The first one to get pushed on, still alive.
But
there
he's
goes
really
Winch
trapped.
This could still go every which way. HP-wise, there's a big advantage for EG. Well, to be fair, this is looking to lean towards BPS slowly but surely.
But last AFK, maybe you have to take the F here. If he gets a high roll.
Nope, but there you go, Chocolate coming around.
Object 3 now coming round, trying to put some pressure on. General is got to be careful. So is Subhuman. Subhuman's still alive.
I can't believe he's still alive, actually. Now we have Orca arriving nearly with a full clip.
And Subhuman is still alive. Now he finally goes down.
There he goes.
General, however, down. Object
And
3, last man standing.
They did it again.
They've done it again.
My voice turned squeaky.
Again. They've done it
Oh, this is
again. They've done it again. How?
It's awesome. I love this. I really do.
My life.
And again,
Oh.
the matches are close. And again, it looked to be going in favor of BPS first, and then it didn't. These games.
But in this game, to be fair, I think the ammo rack on Radikos, a full health ammo rack, did make a big difference.
It made all the difference here. Basically, it was early game as well.
Totally. I mean, I mean, that's going to really annoy you.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, we've talked about that before. You take the tank, you take the weakness along with it.
That's very
You
true.
don't
High
wish it-
risk, high
You don't wish an
reward.
ammo rack on anyone, but it is part of the game.
Mm.
Well, actually, no. If you're playing, you wish it on your enemies, of course, but you know what I mean.
Totally. I mean, poor Radikos there, full health ammo rack. But thinking about it, I mean, you go back. Okay, you're right. It's early part of the battle. It could have made a difference. Let's say he was, got a couple of shots in. Endgame still had more tanks on the battlefield at the end of the battle anyway. So
Yeah.
it's
It would have
half
been
of one.
very difficult.
Yeah, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But a full health ammo rack on a big gun like the 60 TP does have a game-changing effect. I'll be interested to see what Peter and Jack say about that, to be honest.
Yeah, because in this case, I think we all agree it's a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
And again, still a match point for BPS. Second game on Naval Frontier, but they gotta feel this psychologically. That's gotta left them shaking a little bit, that last game.
Well, this is the thing, though. I mean, match point. We've seen Endgame do this so many times, and it's gotta be hurting. BPS got to be sitting there thinking, they're going to be tightening up a little bit more. It's going to be eek.
Yeah.
And of course, Endgame just grow in confidence as they slowly get their mojo back into the game.
You see the confidence in their game style. That unsurety that we saw the first few games is definitely no longer there. And that's fantastic, honestly. I love it.
Again, look at these IS-7s Carolade this time, going to where Subhuman was.
We see a lot of mirror tactics here. Both teams
Subhuman.
losing a little bit of HP there. Bigger gun on
Yeah.
Subhuman though.
Nico just taking the Overwatch, trying to see if he can get something into Subhuman. That's the Subhuman 6, not Subhuman 3.
I find that surprising though, because I'm not sure which one is third, if it's the 2_1 or the 1_1.
I don't know. I don't know either. But at the moment, Endgame have bled. Oh, well, they had, but no, they've still bled more. BPS more. Radikos here being careful. Doesn't want to be ammo racked full again.
Yeah, but he gets some big hit into him from Subhuman, the other one. But they are
Winch
going to
just-
get that base.
Yeah, and Winch just trying to move around to see if he can get anything. Oh, that's a big roll in, and Winch just not connecting with Subhuman.
It's also one to point out that Shock helped keep that base without getting spotted. Romka was the only one that was spotted there. Now they're gonna know he's there because he just did 59 damage to General, but still.
But now, I mean, you've got F here just back. He had to back off because Nico and Carole were trying to get shots into him. He has taken a little bit of HP away. But at the moment, the game is slightly in the advantage of Endgame with that base.
Yeah, and that's gonna put the pressure on. Slowly but surely. This is basically in pubs. I love this this map because of base A in the positioning. I think in tournaments that's not something you actually enjoy, mainly because it's hard to get control of all the bases because of the different positioning. That is a great shot in Object 3.
That was awesome. Object 3, you can't see it because you're with Endgame, but Object 3 just said push onto Carolade, basically. Or attack Carolade. And then, just as he said that, a big whacking shot comes into his rear.
But pushing on Carolade would be, I feel, a mistake. They're now going to push. They're gonna push on Shock, and that makes more sense. And Romka.
It does.
It is dangerous though what they're doing here. Endgame immediately pushing on the other side. They're going to go for Whoopsie.
Ooh.
No, sorry, Radikos.
Shock
Whoopsie is
gets
getting
out of
pushed
there.
on. Look at the HP just
Oh.
vanishing. Radicals going down. Carolade not long for this world either. Object 3 almost gone.
Nico should take out. Yes, he does. Subhuman goes down. Radikos down. Subhuman down. So 2 tanks down for BPS. Object 3 may not last this battle if Nico can reload.
He's not gonna. Not with Walker arriving there at the back as well.
Down he goes. Shock cannot get out of there though.
Barely
Subhuman
alive.
should be. Yeah, it should be. Subhuman should be able to get one in. Take out Shock.
There you go.
Oh no, it was Whoopsie.
4 versus 4. Base A has been stolen. Base B is being capped. F is in a very big problem
Was.
here.
Was.
He departed this world big into Whoopsie there.
That was a
Easy.
huge hit. Now look, Orca coming round. He will be loaded, and he will have his sights on Whoopsie.
I'm
Whoopsie
gonna
knows
call
this.
EG is going to take this mainly because of the HP difference. Like it's,
Mm-hmm.
they've got literally double the HP. They've got the point advantage. They don't
Big
need
bounce
to worry about
there.
face.
General bouncing Orca. Orca not bouncing General.
And having still so much HP. Now if Nikolai going to arrive behind Whoops and taking him out. AG winning 3 games in a row, back to back. We're gonna go to a tiebreaker here.
This is unbelievable.
I love it. I love it. I love these guys. Like honestly.
Subhuman, last man standing. Not much he can do about this, and there it is. Tiebreaker. 3-0 down. Endgame doing what Endgame do.
This, ooh. Like, I'm.
Unbelievable.
Wargaming often comments, well, not often, not anymore. They used to comment a lot about the fact that I don't generally get excited about games and everything, and they want more of the hype. This generally has me excited. I'm wriggling. You hear my voice kind of squeaky every now and again, and I'm like, yee, making these kind of noises and everything. I'm hyped.
Thing is, for those of you on the stream, we've actually got another game after this.
Yes, but this is it. This is the top 4. This is not even the finals. If this was the finals, this would be so freaking epic.
But we've got whoever loses this battle will go on to play Joneses. We've still got another round to go.
It's
today.
awesome.
I mean, I knew we were going to see some fantastic stuff. I knew that these teams were just going to give us amazing gameplay in this tournament. I just didn't realise how amazing it was going to be.
No, well, basically, I kind of expected a tiebreaker. I didn't expect to get here like this.
No. And I really thought at one stage it looked like BPS were just going to steamroll them. And
Yeah.
that changed. It changed. It was a palpable change on Mayan Ruins. BPS had the advantage, and Endgame just do what Endgame do best. And since then, they've not looked back. BPS have got to dust this off, put themselves together again.
Oh my god. And we're going to go to Yukon, which is of course going to be an interesting map because it's a tiebreaker map, so we only see one spawn and they're either going to be happy with that or not. And it's a full base map, which makes it interesting on its own. We see no fast tanks being taken. It's literally a collection of 60 TPs, IS-7s and some AMX 50Bs.
And now it's all about who's going to have the better positions and the better focus fire.
Yeah, and the Clipper. I think AMX is going to be vital here, one way or the other. Either he's going to get a clipped in and make all the difference that way, or he's stood you and BPS will lose a tank.
Totally. And I mean, BPS have got 500 less hit points, but that doesn't really make
That
much of a
doesn't matter,
difference.
that's one shot.
Exactly. Doesn't mean anything at this stage of the game, to be fair. And it's going to be interesting. Endgame are going to be buoyed up. Endgame are going to feel that they've got this. They've been here before, as we've said many, many times. And BPS are just clawing their way back, and they can't lose sight of the fact they had Endgame on the ropes.
Yeah. Now we have EG pushing in the middle. Cheeky decap there on base C. But now they're going to take base D instead.
Yeah, I mean, but look at the way Endgame are stacking up their heavies.
They're also a little bit caught out though. Lost AFK is just he is a bit alone, and that could be big hit into him there. That's
Yeah,
dangerous.
absolutely.
Look at this. EG pushing in.
But I think last AFK is there for a reason, and that reason is to bait the F and those at the decap, allowing the heavies to push around. And what a brawl this is! Subhuman, 1 and 2. Down goes first Subhuman. Romka maybe have to get. Oh, no, doesn't get a
Close.
massive roll, gets a high roll, but down goes second Subhuman. At the moment, Endgame was.
And now it's even Stevens again. HP
Yep.
wise, it's neglectable. It's so close.
Down goes Orca.
That's a fire.
Sorry, down goes Object. Not Orca.
To
Orca
Orca.
went down earlier.
No,
Orca
is
went
that-
down earlier. Yeah, he went down early. He went down earlier.
This is honestly
Ooh.
so close. Radical's
Winch.
being pushed on. General
Yeah.
basically being a blockade here, which is exactly what BPS needs. Last gets taken out. And the AMX is still alive. Just want to point that out.
Winch cannot get the shot in to Radikos, and it's really damaging. Oh, he got the shot in the end, but he's going to go down, Winch, at this rate. But look at the
Yeah,
hit
he
points
is.
just rotating out here. The
3
F
versus
down.
3.
General getting another big hit taken into him. This could go either
is-
way.
Oh,
Oh, ammo rack! IS-7 ammo
and
rack.
this is again, it's a pretty vital one.
It's very vital. I mean, General was holding them off there, and now Whoopsie, last man standing. Not much he can do about it, and he knows that. Gun raised. Whoopsie going, wow, wow, wow. Ammo rack changing the dynamic of the game. Endgame turning it. Aminette, help! I'm losing my voice.
I'm sorry, I'm just like, what just happened, you know? I mean, I know it's endgame, and we always say it's endgame, but what just happened? It was a big, this was almost a CIS style game, this last one.
Unbelievable.
But it was think mainly just EG's tanks being a bit closer together than BPS, because you could see the micro battles happened with more EG tanks together than BPS. BPS was using the buildings more and everything, but they were losing tanks bit by bit, and that ammo rack in the end,
Yeah.
I do feel that did change. Not necessarily would have changed the outcome, but it could have affected it. It could have changed it.
Well, you saw Whoops' response. I mean,
Well,
Whoops' response was wow, wow, wow. I mean, he's
Yeah.
clearly disappointed with the RNG there. The Radikos ammo rack was far more detrimental to the game,
That
I
made
thought.
literally, that was a game changer. Not again, you can't say
Mm-hmm.
because it was so early in the game, you can't say how much it would have affected it, but
True.
it gave EG like such an early massive HP and gun advantage.
Totally. But, and I have to say this, I mean, BPS are fantastic, and they've just played fantastically. Coming back at this tournament, Blitzcup, with what is on the line, to come back from 3-0 down, that is one hell of a feat.
Yeah.
Against this BPS
absolutely.
team. Against this BPS team.
They're so strong. This is, like I said, if this was the grand finals, I would be very happy. This was phenomenal. I really hope for more like this.
I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. Because BPS came out the blocks looking so strong. They
Yeah.
had endgame totally on the ropes. And it's just blowing my head, because if this was like a quick tour or prove your skill, or even in the pro tour, you know, there's a bit of breathing space. But this isn't. This is the Blitz Cup. There
Yeah.
is massive amounts of cash on the line. So for Endgame to come back from 3-0 down is just, well, it's
Phenomenal.
stupendous. It's
Yeah.
stupendous, exactly. I've got no more superlative words for it. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I'm blown away by what I've just seen. I mean, NA gave us a really good tour. This is day one of EU, and I don't know what to say.
And like, we know these players more, we know these teams more. This is our home base, so even though we're not supposed to be server biased, of course we are server biased.
Of course, yes.
You can't help that. We're always rooting for our own boys, and that's basically that's what makes this, like, I think more epic for us than it would be for other servers, because we just have more of a, well, I wouldn't say like personal connection, but we have more of a personal connection with these players. These are the players that we've seen the most over the years, and like we said yesterday, we're cheering for basically all the teams here because we want them all to win. We want the players each individually to win this because they're epic and they deserve it. But there's 4 teams of that.
Unbelievable. It's not over. We're now going to see Joneses versus BPS. I mean, it's
Yeah, exactly.
it's and we're just waiting for the delay to catch up because the analytic guys, Peter and Jack, are watching. They're not in the spectating, so they're watching it the same as you guys on YouTube. So they should be catching up in about a minute from now. And I'm gonna
play in the meantime then.
Yeah, which one shall we go for?
The M6 from Brian.
M6. The M6.
Yeah, M6Y. I think it's the Yo. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Let's do that one.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what Jack and Peter have to say about this. To be honest with you.
Oh, I have quite something to say.
Just give us a second to start the replay, and then by all means, I'd love to hear it. We need a little bit of a break to calm down and.
Also,
oh my god.
just for clarification, I checked. The double underscore subhuman is Zerg.
Okay.
Because I checked on Discord.
The reason that I was wondering that is mainly because Zerd has a tendency to take a position where he will get wrecked, but it is a vital position all the same, and he's usually like a bait role.
Hello.
Hello, Jack.
Hello.
Hello.
We have
Give us
quite
2
something
seconds.
to say, don't we?
Yeah, we're not entirely there
Yeah,
yet.
not very yet.
Okay.
I'm at battle.
I'm almost there. It's loading in a little bit late for me always.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm at battle.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, play. Okay, go on, analytics.
Should
All
we
in
start
all,
with game 1 then, Jack? Before we go over the all in all, because we can do that at the end.
Yes,
Well,
do it
no,
game by game.
Jack, we do that at the end.
It makes more sense to do it at the end to summarize it.
I was trying to do an introduction, but anyway.
No, you said overall. That's a summary.
But yeah, summary,
Okay,
but in the
game
introduction.
1, go.
It was really, really close. But I mean, like, Endgame really had the upper hand, and I mean, Endgame they just didn't. They had the cap lead. They really caught BPS disoriented. They even made an unexpected move to rotate back from the spawn and press BPS at the right moment, and also correlate. That tank looked apparently isolated, but it was well supported. Like, Endgame had done really, really well, and BPS was on the back foot for like the first half. Like, and NG also had a good idea, but BPS looked a bit slow to react. But they cleared the tanks out of Endgame really quickly. What I think is the game changer for me is Endgame shot collate the push near C. It looked very shaky, and shot collate at the tank left of him lost so many hit points, and Endgame also missed some crucial shots on the BPS tanks down in the valley as well. But also to say, Object 3 in that C68 and that 1 versus 1, so instrumental. We cannot neglect that. He was very much a huge reason why Endgame won that.
They lost that.
Sorry, BPS.
I think though that it wasn't really a reason for BPS to winning, because the 268 was taken out of the fight for quite some time, because he was dragged away by, I think it was an I7, and he was just kept there because he was shooting or aiming at the 50B side, and he couldn't do that at that moment. So I think that's what helped Endgame. But like you said, those misses at the end were quite crucial, and I think, I'm not sure which one of you two said it,
but that he shouldn't have rammed the E50 at the end. But he
Yeah, it was-
actually
yeah.
needed to, because he wouldn't have done enough damage with his clip. He missed his first shot, that's why. If he
Yes, he
hadn't
did,
have missed
yeah.
that, or some other shots that were crucial, it really would have, or let's say should have.
Yeah.
What do you think about the second one?
Second one, BPS. Well, I think BPS needs to take a lot of credit in that match. That rotation was really good. I mean, compared to what we saw in the last game, that rotation from BPS, we can see the tanks working a lot better together, and they had a much. The teamwork was a lot better. Like you see, when the flank has gotten the attention from endgame, the other flank makes a move. And I think when BPS was trying to make moves on different flanks, and endgame was trying to hold BPS back, the BPS got the tempo brilliantly. They pushed onto endgame steadily, and endgame was quite unsuccessful in holding BPS back, and they lost quite some tanks here. BPS, the focus fire was also brilliant. I'm a bit doubtful about the endgame's mediums or lights, because usually when other teams make a move back to the spawn, like what BPS did, you usually would see some move over to B. But for some reason, endgames, those mediums or lights kind of sit at where they are, and I would have expected them, if not going for B, like capture B entirely, they would have, for example, go round the backside of BPS. So that is kind of a bit bizarre for me, but all in all, BPS, they also conserved a lot more hit points than endgame, which really helped them in the rotation.
Yeah, I really think that as well. I wrote it down in my notes even. What you mentioned with those mediums, they just stayed at D for too long. I don't even know why they stayed there. The plan was to give fire support, but the thing is, you can't support if you have no angles, and that was probably what BPS expected, and that's what they incorporated in their movement. And also, one thing I'd like to point out, I'm not sure if I'm looking too much into this, but D got capped by endgame, and they had, for the longest of times, that cap advantage, and I mean, they did still have it in the end. But they didn't cap A. They could have, but I think the reason as to why they ignored it and not send a tank there was to constantly apply that pressure on endgame. And also maybe of a mental thing, we don't need that cap to beat you. We're gonna do it without it. Just watch us do it. And that's basically what they did with that push at the end. That was just fantastic play.
Yeah,
Shall
I
we
mean,
start the next replay, by the way, for Jit?
Yeah. Who are we going to go for this time? Shall we go
Skills?
for skills in the ST?
Yeah, STB.
Yeah,
We haven't shown
STB.
we haven't shown skills yet.
No, we haven't. That's a very good point.
So we've not seen any skill tonight?
we've seen a lot of skills.
An insane amount of skills, to be honest.
It's
Dear God.
unbelievable amount. I mean, I'm still getting over what we've just seen.
Yeah.
I'm at battle, so just waiting for you.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, continue.
Alright. Match 3, that Mayan first game. I think that was quite interesting actually. Because BPS had a really good lead on endgame at the beginning. I mean, they absolutely, let's just say it as it is, trashed on last as he tried to get out of his position, which he moved a bit awkwardly, yes, but I mean, he lost 1,000 and the total that they bled was 3k. But then we had that counter push from endgame, pushing into the spawn, picking Radek out super fast, which then BPS counter pushed, so it was a counter push to a counter push, right through the middle, also two-sided though, so trying to pincer. But then again, endgame also was kind of pincering again, so it was more of a never-ending pincer between these teams. And both teams actually played this pretty well. It was very close until the end. And to confirm, or just actually deny your confusion, Nico's Amarak was damaged. So,
Okay.
That was it, yeah.
so he couldn't reload in time. I think if he had it, that definitely would have been a chance. He
potentially could have won it.
Could have.
Of
Yeah.
course, it's still a very hard thing to do. But I think that Amarek really just sealed the deal at the end there.
The damaged Amarak, just to
Yes.
clarify it for.
Yes, the damaged Amarek, exactly.
Because there's two swords happening this evening.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jack, what do you think about that match?
The third game, I think that move, that decisive push from Endgame was justified. They know there are isolated tanks BPS, but I have to say BPS have done a really quick counter move following from that decisive push from Endgame. I think that also made all the difference. They also got themselves in good situation with focus fire and from the pincer movement. It seems like BPS could pick up the targets a little bit more easily than Endgame with that push. And also Endgame bounced a few shots midway, which is quite unfortunate, and they have to play catch up after this. I mean, the latter half, they made sure their shots penned, but because they bounced a few shots midway, I think that also made some difference. And it was very close at the end. I think Nicolate, had he not gotten that ammo racking, it could also have become a lot closer than expected.
I quite like that. I mean, we know that there's a chance that he could have won it had he been able to reload like properly.
Right.
But that wouldn't have allowed for the comeback that we've seen now.
Unbelievable.
Like, that's always a good point. Like, if this happened, would the other thing happen?
Yeah.
And everything you gotta consider.
Everything seemed to be stacked against EG for quite some time there. And the fact that they then brought it all back. And basically that was also a big psychological, well, not push, punishment, let's say, for BPS. Because they were basically set to win. And they're still very epic. So this happening like this, I think had more of an effect than it would have otherwise.
I mean, speaking of the fourth game, it still appears like Endgame is on a disadvantage. I mean, they made an initial push, but that initial push was predicted by BPS. I mean, we were all thinking that the tank that was very close to the BPS spawn would be killed like instantly, but BPS seemed to have predicted that, and they made a really good counter push. And also, Endgame made made some crucial bounces, which could also have gone in the way of BPS. But what I think Endgame did really well here and brought them the win is that I like how they go for which tanks to. I mean, I like how they pick up
Tank
tanks.
priority.
The tank priority.
Yes.
Like, that is so important because what Endgame did is that they killed the 50Bs of the BPS team first, so that BPS are left with the 60 TPs and the IS7s, meaning BPS DPM is going to be really, really low. And they also have the hip-hop advantage, so even if BPS are really good focus fire, and also they seem to isolate tanks pretty well, Endgame's the Endgame's focus fire priority really brought them over in this one.
Yeah.
And yeah. Unbelievable.
All of you said that, or let's put it that way. You did say that BPS was more in an advantageous position here, but I kind of actually would like to disagree because from a lot of this game, Endgame had the upper hand when it came to hit points. They always kept the gun up as well, and like Jack mentioned, they killed the 50Bs, but they kept their own alive super well. Because they stayed till the end. Even though one of them was constantly fighting in the middle, he didn't die. And yes, BPS also did some phenomenal plays to keep their tanks alive, like that one I7 that just did not want to die, which I thought was really good, especially the shielding that then also came from his teammate. But it really was those 50s. I mean, we saw one of them doing over 4K alone.
Yeah.
That's what you want a 50B to do in a perfect scenario, of course, and I think that's what Endgame could really do here, and I think that's what started that downward spiral for BPS.
And talk about the fifth game. The Amarak was kind of major.
Ah, yeah, let's talk about the Amarak.
You need to talk a little bit faster though, because you have like 6 minutes to talk about 3 games now.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
let's hurry up a bit.
I don't have a lot of points for the last 3 games to be honest. So, but the Amarak, I think it was crucial. It was important, but not like it was like it's like totally game changer. Like I think also to do with that Amarak happening like away from where the rest of the fight is. So what I think is that endgame pressed hard and whittled BPS tanks down brilliantly down in the middle. But BPS, they've shown some amazing, impeccable resilience. They almost got endgame there. Like, they tried to brought it close, but that Amarak really threw up BPS a bit off guard. But still, I commend their resilience. It was brilliant to see.
Yeah,
But-
it's like
but-
you said,
so-
it's somewhat of a knee-jerk reaction. Sorry, Fujit.
No, carry on.
But I also
was
think
talking
it
to my cat.
wasn't necessarily game deciding. I knew said game breaking, because like you said, it was away from the fight, and also considering that the double IS-7 kept 4 or 5 tanks at bay from
Yeah.
BPS, I think made that Amarak less significant, because there were guns out of the fight anyway, so that 60 TP would have died. It just made it a lot faster. Yes, it's awkward for BPS, of course, but I think it wasn't 100% alright, endgame has won. It helped them. I'll go as far as to say that, but just keeping BPS busy with those I7s the middle, they took so long to kill them as well.
To be fair, I disagree with that, because that Amarak full health early on in the game, yes, he might have died, but he would have tied up tanks and shots for quite some time. And this
And he would
allowed
have
those
got-
tanks to do other things immediately.
And he would have got shots in and taken
Yeah.
HP out. So,
Even if he had bounced everything, that still would have made a big difference in how the game progressed.
anyway.
But yeah,
2 more games, guys, because
Yes.
we're running out of time.
Second Neville game, pretty good. That start with A is always a hard one, especially like you said, if they don't have a mobile tank, which that 907 just absolutely shined that. Just taking that position was really crucial, because it's something that you can't really play against unless you push it, and the A cap got pushed twice afterwards actually.
yeah.
Starting with BPS counter pushing it, which then endgame made a really well reaction to just not get into a deficit. And then when it came into a 4v4 situation, I think endgame just had better positioning. In general, they were a lot more together than BPS was. They were quite spread out. Some tanks up, stuck at A. I think 2 tanks were down low, so they couldn't really support each other efficiently. And I mean, we still had 2 full HP 60 TPs with Orca and Nico. Then again, rotating to A and endgame, then bringing that to tiebreaker.
I mean, the 6th game, I also agree that the endgame positioning was brilliant. All in all, like endgames, they pretty much dominated the game from start to finish. First of all, BPS bled more than endgame at the start, and then endgame positioning made it really difficult for BPS to push. I mean, we saw BPS try to push B, but no, we can't do that. They try to push A, but also endgame's tanks were like quite far back, so they can't really do that, so they went for B again. And I think that kind of movement from BPS allowed endgame to make a great move onto Radek, which also changed the tempo in the game, and endgame was just pretty much on top of that.
Definitely. Getting to the last game, since I'm assuming we don't have much time left.
You have about
Um,
3 minutes.
I have 4 notes, and that's it. I really like the stacking up in the middle. I wasn't sure if that's gonna work. It was the same with that main game we saw earlier, where that can go either way, terribly wrong or well. But pushing into the middle, what Endgame did was they always made sure they had at least a gun up, which at the beginning was 2, then it was 0, but they always had a gun more. And I think that was really what decided it, just that target priority. And that Amarak, that 1000, I don't think was really vital, because he would have been dead anyway, because a second later, I think it was Nico who was standing next to it, would have killed him anyway.
I think the last game, Endgame also did really well. But I think the middle move there, I don't think it was like the My Runes where it was like stacked up and you don't really know what's the purpose. What they're trying to do there, they trap BPS tanks on C. You saw them bleeding a lot. Like it looked like BPS the tanks on C are like out of position, but it was to do with Endgame trapping them very well, and BPS reacted to that quickly, which brought it quite close. And but Endgame simply had more control of Focus Fire because they were the initiative. BPS responded all right, but like Endgame, they know which tanks to go for because they were on top of that. And I think that ammo rack was also quite vital, although Endgame seems to have a lot more hit points than BPS. That is to do with that BPS could have wanted still if they can do an amazing 2 versus 2, 1 versus 1 moves, but that ammo rack to me sealed the game for Endgame.
Well, we've got the room up, so guys, we've got Jones against BPS.
Yes.
What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking action-packed gameplay.
Totally.
Right, I think Jones, they will need to recuperate a little bit more. We've seen them performing really well. In fact, both Jones and BPS are quite close on all 4 maps, so it can go either way. But I don't think we have seen the best of Jones yet, and I really hope to see that in this game, because that is the only game that they could play. I mean, that's the most crucial one, because whichever team's going to lose this matchup will go out tonight and not be playing tomorrow.
Peter, what about you, Peter?
I mean, I was just lost in thought. I just think we're gonna have to see how BPS's mental state is, because they just got reverse sweep, and they could have won quite a couple of those games that they lost. So it's gonna really be how well can they keep their cool, and how well did Jones manage to get their heads back into it, because they got fully swept. So we'll see. This is gonna be a tough one for both, though, I think.
And that this is both teams don't have that custom clan logo, so that is going to make it even more important for these 2 teams.
Yes. Oh, that's sad.
So one of them will bow out tonight without a custom clan logo, and this is the only chance that they could get their own custom clan logo in game.
Well, as it says, it's always sad to see one of these teams going down, and we don't wish that on any of these teams. We wish the best of luck for both of these teams here.
We want them all to win.
Absolutely, if only they could.
Exactly.
If only they could. I mean,
if only Wargaming has amnesty and grant them.
Why quad elimination? You have to lose 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, BPS have just shown us some fantastic gameplay against a very tough team, but they did get reverse sweeped. Joneses, on the other hand, yeah, you're right, they got fully swept, but then they won't be coming off a high and basically having a big kick in the nuts like BPS. Because BPS were, that's a big thing, being at match point and then losing. It's huge. It's huge.
I think for this matchup, it's gonna be either one or the other. Like we've seen with the first 2 matchup, I think it's either going to be a swipe one way or the other, or it's gonna go up evenly and we get a tiebreaker. It can go either way. That's honestly why I love this top 4 so much, because you just can't tell. But it's gonna be basically, it will all depend on whether or not Jones has regained their footing here.
Exactly, and both of these clans now have got something to prove. BPS have got something to prove, and so have Joneses, and they're going to be up for it. And I think this is it's either way, it's going to be fantastic. I think either way.
the only reason that I'm pointing out Jones need to get their footing is mainly because BPS, the players, are so seasoned. They've all been through this before. So I think it's easy is not the right word, but easier for them to get their head back straight into the game. That being said, though, Jones will have watched the games. They will have seen what's happened. I've no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah. And both these clans are quite aggressive, to be fair.
Yeah.
Both of these teams are quite aggressive. It'd be interesting to see how they approach it. Are they going to be passive, aggressive? Because you just never know. A lot at stake here.
I want to point out, again, no fast tanks.
Yeah, I saw that. And it's Port Bay.
Yeah, so I would expect more... Well, actually, no, we've seen IS-7s in the corner before. But I would kind of expect more action around base B, especially since both teams are taking a mouse there.
Yeah, but BPS taking 60 TPs, and quite a few of them, compared to the Joneses.
Let's see, 2 Yos. This is... when I see these kind of lineups, like, if it wasn't the top 4, I could make predictions as to what would happen. But it is top 4, and they could literally... It can go every which way.
Well, that was nice from Giseo. Good looking.
Zerg wants to go boom. Gassier wants that too.
It could be a bit of a brawl around the A and the B cap, to be fair. Giseo saying, shall we meet in the corner?
Yeah, that's the funniest thing though. Like, these teams, these players have met each other in these kind of positions often, and I like that there's sort of like light-hearted banter. At least at the beginning of the battle, as soon as it stops, as soon as they spot each other, that's gonna be different. Look at Spidey, because Radical's being very forwards here.
But they can afford to be a little bit. Because oh dear, Spitty.
Preemptive gameplay, but then look at the hit that they taken back there.
Yeah.
Subhuman has to be careful. That's the Zerd human.
Deneo and Ghosty trying it. Yeah, they're trying. But look at this. Look at Zerd Subhuman coming in along with the F, trying to pincer Ghosty here.
This is being very cheeky, to be honest. They're driving in ways that I'm like, that is quite dangerous to drive that exposed. Subhuman is the first one to go. Denio is almost gone as well.
Yeah, General. Oh no, he doesn't. Subhuman gets him. Spitty's still alive after losing a load of HP to begin with. Object 3 is the next on the hit list.
Yeah, but they're trying to shield him the best they can. The mouse being taken out because of that.
Ghost is one shot. General should finish him.
And he does. There goes Spidey as well.
So both teams have lost 3, but BPS do have those points. They don't have the hit points.
Being taken out now.
Now Romeo is the one who's going to be focused. Whoops is going to chase him down.
Yeah, but the F is not going to get that shot. And that's wasting precious time. But now he's overexposed. He misses.
He does. That could be dangerous. General here. Now a one shot.
General, basically. This was very clever because now it's 3 versus 2. And if they focus fire, and if their focus fire is on point, it can go every which way. They all need to focus at the same time. That's all there is to it. And there we go. 3 versus 1.
This is not going as I expected. Kudos to Joneses.
You start stuttering at some point, trying to find the right word for what amazing stuff you're seeing.
Absolutely. I mean, total kudos here for the Joneses. I mean,
they're
they've
kind of blocking each other's shots, though.
Yeah, but you know, they've come out fighting, and it's clear they've put what happened against Loka behind them. BPS maybe just a little bit overconfident.
And to be fair, this has got to feel good for them, for the Joneses.
Oh, totally. I mean, BPS won't be too concerned at this stage. There's a long way to go yet, but it's a big boost for the Joneses.
Yeah.
Big boost.
And I think, though, that this was lost more by BPS than won by Joneses, because the way that BPS
Yeah.
passed through the middle, they were so out in the open. It was there was no carefulness about it, so to speak.
No.
And I
you
think
know,
that cost them a lot of hit points in the end.
It did. Well, you know, you never know what these clans are thinking. Are they testing Jones? Are they trying to see who the danger target is? Who's on top of their game today? You just never know what they're doing, because there's still a long way to go. I mean, it's best of 7. Going one game down at this early doors isn't going to phase BPS in the slightest. But as you said, there's a danger, because you are giving the Joneses much needed confidence.
Yes, exactly. Now we see a fast tank appearing, at least on Jones's side, or maybe not.
Or possibly not. No. Giseo, yeah. The line to Giseo is okay. He flicked back into that because.
Because that's the thing, like on a map like this, I expect mobility, not necessarily like total mobile lineups, but I expect some mobile in the lineup. I wonder if that means that we're going to see base C play now, or if Gassio is going to take over the role of a TD that we see in pubs and be like on the ramps near the spawns.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who aren't overly familiar with the tournaments, you are getting to see both lineups. They don't, obviously.
Yeah.
So the Joneses have no idea that Radikos is in a mouse, for example.
That's also why we stream with a delay, by the way, so that they also can't see the lineups through the stream, just to point out the obvious.
Yeah, it is, because some people do say, but they can see the teams. Now they get to see the lineups, and now they get to sort of adjust their strats that they had in their mind. And as Aminet said, we've got a Vickers here from Giseo. He may be joined by Romeo and go over to that C cap. We don't know. It's difficult to call the strats at this level, because they do strange things, and they're doing strange things.
No, they are going to make a play for C.
They
so
are.
I think the biggest is probably going to spot. He's going to go up there. He's going to do the
Are they going to boost? Are they going to boost?
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
It's a great spot to be in.
Yeah.
When you have a team behind you, but there's no one there.
And Giseo will be sending back vital information. They know now that the entire BPS team is at the A cap.
Not just that, but they're also like, because they're capping together, and players from BPS drove through the cap, there's a tiny point advantage. It's not going to make enough of a difference.
Ghosty there, maybe have to reset Radikos.
He's definitely going to try. Oh, that was a big hit. Well done.
He waited for that. He really lined that up. Radikos getting a bloody nose and really getting out dodge.
And that keeps him from getting that C cap, and it's whittled their mouse down to over half its HP now.
Ghosty getting another important shot into Radikos and Romeo in that yo.
Yeah, that was a very cheeky shot by Romeo though, because being there with everyone at A, as far as they know, could have been very dangerous for them.
Well, at the moment, BPS are really on the back foot. I mean, Radikos has been whittled down by a lot of hit points. He's lost more than half of them. And that's their mouse. And
look at where Gassio is, though. He's now gone to the corner, even though he doesn't necessarily need to be there, but they obviously expect action at C.
Well, I think they're expecting them to flank round. And you can see Whoopsie in general are sort of going that direction. And Romeo has moved and gone up to that position as well, just to cover anything that comes that direction. This is good reading by the Joneses. Good anticipation.
This is the Joneses we know and love.
Exactly. And this is what we needed to see against Loka. And there may be a bit of big stage nerves there, a bit of stage fright, but this is Joneses.
This is cheeky. The F basically caused Romeo to fire his shots, and that allowed the IS-7s to push, but they did not get a shot in.
And they also don't know that Kiko and Giseo are over there waiting for them.
It could have been a potential trap. That was very clever.
But look at the Joneses now pushing over the other side, leaving
They sense
Romeo.
weakness in Object 3 there, all alone.
They do.
But that's gonna create a counter push, it has to. Oh, look at this. This is
Oh.
good. They're not pushing into the line of fire. Oh, no, they are.
Yeah,
honest, I
Legoat
was gonna
did.
say.
Legoat did. But Ghosty should finish off Object 3. No, Deneo does. Whoopsie in general dropping down and trying to get round the other side of Romeo and Kiko. Because Kiko's now joined Romeo.
Massive hits happening everywhere, not gonna lie.
Whoopsie caught out. Romeo hitting general. Kiko should finish Whoopsie here. And he does.
Joneses are pretty much, they're back in action. They're being epic here. They're now also going for base dominance just to basically assure their victory.
Radikos should go down. Kitty should get him, and he does.
And he does.
Subhuman Zerd, down he goes.
Vital shot there by Gassio then. Well, not like vital because they have a gun advantage and everything, but the thing is juicy.
Yeah, it's 2 against too many. And
Yeah, exactly that.
this is the Joneses that we love, and they've got it. They've got it. 2-0 to the Joneses.
And we sound surprised, and it's not like we know
No,
that they can do this, but after the first matchup, they didn't have it in them there. So it's great to see this.
Whatever the captain said to them during the break, we need to know.
It worked. It definitely worked in the case.
It definitely worked.
Oh, fantastic. Now we're moving
But
on
it's-
to the next map. But like, for BPS, again, psychologically, of course they're weathered players, they're seasoned and everything. This has got to feel like horrible. They've lost 6 games in a row now
Yeah.
at this level of tournament. And at the same time, the Joneses are going to be jubilant here.
Totally. And, you know, I'm just sat there feeling for Zerd, because is that niggling doubt coming back into Zerd's mind?
I hope not. The curse was finally
I-
broken. We need to keep it that way.
Totally. I totally agree with you. I mean, I hope he's not starting to doubt himself. I know he isn't, because he's a seasoned vet. But it's got to be... there's got to be that little doubt niggle in there somewhere. But still a long way to go yet. Joneses are on fire, and I'm loving that after their disappointment against Loka. That's nothing against BPS. I mean, we've seen BPS playing fantastically against Endgame. You know, so don't write them off.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm kind of expecting this to be pulled back by BPS and then going up evenly and just like, ooh, that's really what I'm hoping for. And what I know they have in them, this could go either which way. They're both epic, and we want both to win.
Yeah,
And we know that can't happen, but I'm gonna hate either of these teams being knocked out.
Absolutely. I mean, I like the Joneses because I like their gameplay, and I also like them as individuals because they're so laid back and they're so funny, and they're a really good bunch of guys. But so are the BPS guys. I mean, they get a lot of stick, but you know they're really great guys, and it's going to be horrible to lose one of these teams.
So let's see. Jones is now going
From
towards
nine.
the A side.
EF jumping into the 907 this time, making use of that mobility, and the F is a great medium light player.
If he
he's
gets
gonna-
this base, that's gonna make a big difference for them.
And he's going to get it because nobody's there.
Not in time. Close, but not close enough.
No. And he
Oof.
remains unspotted, getting out of there.
Radical's taking a bit of a nosebleed there.
Deneo's in a great spot, to be perfectly honest with you. Good spotting position.
Yeah.
Surprised that the Joneses didn't take more mobility, but hey, they're now going to push through onto that A cap.
And the F is deciding, I don't want the F to be here anymore. And he knows he kind of has to stay there a little bit to spot, but at the same time, is he going to try to decap? No, he's not going to take that risk.
No,
Not with
I mean-
those tanks in the caves.
Kiko's in a great spot there with the IS-7, keeping that bottom plate covered nicely and grabbing that cap. Now BPS look to be in a little, you would say disarray, but they're not. They're just trying to get back into their spawn, rotate back around the map to get the numbers back over this side, because they know the Joneses have numbers this side.
But position-wise, the Joneses are, to be fair, in much better position. Look at how cornered BPS is here. We've got the
And
Joneses in the caves. We got them near base A. There's Crossfire. If they overextend any which way, they're gonna feel it.
And now the Joneses have got the base point advantage, but the F will cap C.
He has to.
He has no choice, but it's not going to bring them back. They will need, and Subunit is making a dash for the B cap. Ghost is there to reset it.
This is Zerd Subhuman. And this is what I meant. This is what he does. He's usually bait like this, taking tricky positions.
And BPS will now, they're now going to take 2 caps, and they will get those points back, forcing Jones. Yeah, they're going to force Jones to make a point here. I mean, Ghosty unable to reset because Whoopsie also joined Zerd there.
Yeah, and we have basically DF was shooting in a corner. He was also getting some shots in. And now it's basically patient gameplay from BPS. The only issue is that they've got 2 tanks in a position where they can't get out of. In a position that can get rushed. So they have to be careful. If the push comes, it's likely going to come at base B.
It is,
Keiko
but
going after the F.
What's making me giggle is that a minute ago we were saying that the Joneses had better positions, and BPS have just turned that around a little bit.
Exactly.
It's brilliant.
General.
Ooh, and Radikos.
Jones moving, but now we have Subhuman, the Zerd version. No, not the unzerd version. Going after Keiko together with the Vickers, because they kind of have to do that, otherwise they're going to lose that base, and they really need that base. But at the same time, we have a ball in the middle.
We do. Radikos and Spitty focused respectively. Oh, General goes down.
Yeah, but he got a shot in, which was vital, but now Whoopsie bounced that, and that is vital as well.
Spitty survives on 200 hit points. Radikos is still alive, and they're trying to... Not anymore, as I say that.
Is though. And we have Whoopsie now going for him. He's gonna eat a shell for that. Oh, again! This is 2 bounces on Spitey there by Whoopsie. That is... Oof.
But look at the points, and look at the fact that Whoopsie goes down, and look at the points here in favour of the Joneses.
They've stolen the base. They've got the gun advantage.
Subhuman will go.
Advantage. And basically, Subhuman and DF were just tied up together for too long, and that's allowed all the things to change. This was... But also have to say that those bounces on the bum of Spidey made all the difference here. They were game-changing, because that was 1200 potential damage.
My God. We are 3-0 to Joneses.
Who could have expected that? No one.
No, it's again, we're not trying to sort of dump on the Joneses because they're a great team. Not. But we saw their performance against Loka, where they seem to be deer in headlights. And look at this, 3-0 to the Joneses, after just watching the fantastic, amazing gameplay of BPS against Endgame.
And we know that BPS is so much better than what we're seeing. The games are relatively close, and RNG has not been kind to BPS tonight, I have to say.
No, I agree with you there. They've not been kind. They've had 2 ammo racks and a shed load of bounces there. But in fairness, some of the decision making, I mean, BPS did have a slight advantage by taking the B and the C cap. Did they really need to push out a B? Really?
I think, no, they didn't really have to. But it was more the fact that they had 2 tanks at base C tied up. And Keiko held them off long enough there. That made a big difference as well. Because it allowed the Joneses to have a gun advantage on the other side. Not to mention that those 2 bouncers from Whoopsie would have taken out a tank. It's oof.
But now are we going to see a BPS comeback? I mean, are they sort of banging each other? So am I. I mean, I hope they're all banging their heads together and saying, "Guys, what are we doing?" You know,
Yeah,
we've
exactly.
just played fantastically, and we're looking a slightly more pedestrian at the moment. But again,
And
we don't know how much that loss to Endgame really hit them.
yeah, it's kind of the same with each of the first 3 games on the other matchup. They seem a bit lost.
Hmm.
And some of the games were close, and it's just it's tough because basically it's not just that I want more games. Of course I want more games, especially at this level, but also they deserve better. They deserve better than to go out like
They
this.
do.
So I'm really hoping for
Yeah.
a comeback.
And as you said, I mean, RNG has not been kind to them today. That is true. It's not been kind to them. I know, you know, Peter and Jack said that Radikos' full hammer rack probably didn't make much of a difference. I'm with
think
you.
it
I don't necessarily agree. It's a big tank. It's got a lot of HP and it's got a big gun. And getting it out so early is going to throw. It is a game changer. And you know, then losing a match point game with a reverse sweep is going to really affect you. It's
Yeah.
going to affect you. You just don't know how BPS, how much it has affected them, to be honest. Because this is not their fluid movement that we saw against Endgame a minute ago.
Cheeky decap there by Radikos.
Yeah, that was a great decap. The F managing to secure C. So they have got the caps this time. BPS are going to be able to put a bit of pressure onto the Joneses. The Joneses are growing in confidence.
That's going to make a big difference as well. I feel that this has sort of like been a psychological night when it comes to the gameplay. It's not just the games, the caps, the tanks, and everything. There's a lot of like testing the waters, trying to feel each other out, and everything going on, which is fantastic. I just want to see more of it.
Oh, totally. And now, BPS have the upper hand now. All they've got to do is prevent that B cap, and they'll know that. They have got the points. Do they really need to be aggressive now? Do they need to push? Do they need to give hit points away?
No, they don't, and it's kind of dangerous that they are still doing that. Like we have the F, who is doing more than spotting in that corner.
Yeah.
And he is, well, there's AMXs behind there, but look at the HP that he's lost. Getting 2 shots in. He's lost, this HP was from getting a few shots in himself. And he's got a vital role in this map. He needs to be more careful.
And this is what I'm saying. I mean, do BPS really need to lose any HP now? The answer to that is no. They've got the upper hand. But you know, they know, we know, they need to win. And the disappointment of the end game is that you know, just pulling out these little errors potentially. F again getting smacked.
He's taking too much of a risk there, and I get their impatience. That's one of the things that happens when you're behind like this. You get impatient, you want stuff to happen, and you want it to go your way, but you're playing against very good seasoned players. You should not risk it. He's now moving out of there, but in my honest opinion, he lost all that HP needlessly. That was a nice shot into Subhuman, though.
That was. And, I mean, I'm just looking at the 50Bs. The 50Bs are sort of out of the action at the moment, which is a good thing, because they don't need to be in the action at the moment. They just need to wait for the Joneses to make their move.
Jones is now making a move. I think they want to make a play on C. That is what those AMXs are waiting for.
Yeah. But Kiko is going
not-
all alone. Interestingly.
No, he's not. There's more people coming. But now if the MX is actually pointing back, they're not really...
Great shot on Whoopsie, and Whoopsie's shot not landing.
Now you have Denio moving all the way at the back. General has been spotted, so they know they're going to be there. Gassio now spotting both of them, so now they know they're both there.
Oh, the Joneses leaving it too late to get that cap advantage. They will stop Oh, big rolls going in. I mean, they
Oh
will
my-
stop points, but... Oh, Kiko, no!
But now base C is going to get taken. They need to make a play for base A. That's going to be a 1v1. That's going to be dangerous. So they're going to go for base B instead, going after Le Goat.
Legoat getting an important shot into Whoopsie. Whoopsie losing a load of hit points. Down he goes! Ammo rack! But the Jones is also losing Ghosty and Legoat.
It can still go every which way. It is so close, but they need a base, and that's going to be very difficult to get here. Base A is being capped, and that is vital, but at the same time, they can't lose any other tank.
Nope, they cannot. And Object 3, Kiko losing a load of hit points there, but he gets a good shot into Object. Object 3 goes down!
Oh, so close.
That's changed it into the dynamic of the Joneses.
They need to take out. There you go. Keiko
No!
goes down.
BPS get the dynamic again, but Subhuman is a one
Oh
shot.
my
It
God.
goes back to the Joneses. Back
goes
to
back.
BPS.
These
Unbelievable.
games. Base A is now being capped, and that's going to make the difference here. Jones is going to take it. Unless they lose 2 tanks.
Deneo may go down. Radikos is trying to get the shot in. He gets the shot in, but it's not a high roll. It's all about
No,
Subhuman and
there
Deneo.
you go.
Oh!
Jones has it.
Oh my God! Oh!
And he goes down in the end as well. That's just me.
What have we just seen?
Oh my God.
Oh my giddy arm, what have we just seen? I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. I mean, that was unbelievable.
I have to say, phenomenal gameplay by Jones. Nothing against them at all. They were fantastic this matchup. I'm just shocked.
So am I. I mean, I you know, my heart seriously goes out to BPS.
Yeah.
Because, I'll be honest with you, what I saw against Endgame, I really thought, you know, BPS are going to win this. They're going to go all the way and lift this cup.
Same.
And then that seriously, that loss on Mayan Ruins and that ammo rack on Naval Frontier, and I know everybody, you know, every in Wild One said it. Oh, it doesn't make it. I'm sorry. I really think that is kicked them in the teeth.
Yeah.
And that
Mentally
kick in
as
the
well as
teeth,
physically.
absolutely. And I think that led to the downward spiral of allowing Endgame to not taking anything. I mean, Endgame are fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, if any team can turn around a deficit like that, it's Endgame. But I think that just blew the wind out of the sails of BPS.
It
And
did.
what we've seen here is firstly Joneses growing in confidence after their defeat against Loka against a very deflated BPS.
Yeah, and this does feel like the third curse, and it's just not him. From what we understood, Object 3 has also like been in finals and everything, and just never actually gotten it. From what I understood yesterday, but this is like, well, we've been saying it. We don't want any of these teams to be knocked out, but I especially don't want them to get knocked out like this. They deserve better, and that's nothing against the Jones because they've been phenomenal and they did really deserve to win in this matchup, to be sure. But right now, we basically just want to hug BPS.
Totally, and you know, I just can't get over it. What I saw earlier, BPS having in-game on the ropes so effectively to this. Again, I love the Joneses and I love their style of play. So I'm not trying to dump on them, and nor are you. We know that. We need the people on the stream to know that. Yeah, we do. We love both teams. But if you would have, at the beginning, before this match started, if you would have said to me, who are you going to put your money on? I would have put all my money on BPS. Nothing against the Joneses. On the strength of what I saw against Loka, and on the strength of what I saw BPS play against Endgame, all my money would have been firmly on BPS.
Same.
And I would have lost
everything.
everything.
And then you saw the Joneses just stand up like this and just like, nope. It was amazing. Like, it was such clever gameplay. And aside from the Amarex in the first match, when we look at this specific matchup alone, the Joneses really outplayed BPS at every single turn, pretty much. Aside from that little RNG on the IS-7, but...
Yeah. But we say, you know, generally as comment, because we play the game, and you know, we know the game, and we generally say it's those little mistakes that creep in. And we were saying halfway through, does BPS really need to lose hit points like this?
They
And
don't.
the F, I mean, the F is one of the best players I've ever seen, and it's unlike him. And it's these little errors that are creeping in. This is coming in from that little nagging doubt, I think. And I think you're right. It's more psychological than anything else.
Just want to say, by the way, DF just said in my chat, sorry I didn't play perfect every game. No one is expecting you to, hun. You are phenomenal.
Absolutely.
We know that.
Totally. And you know, it's nothing about. And this is the thing. It's not about. I'm playing crap. It's the pressure on these guys is immense.
We get why it happens. It's basically our, let's say, job to point out what is happening and why it is happening and what is tipping the skills and everything.
I'm just blown away.
Yeah.
Wow,
Totally blown away.
Just said that 5 minutes ago and now at the same time.
But I am.
How do you say it at the same time?
We do that a lot.
But there's nothing else I can say. I'm just full of superlatives today because the
Full of
games we're seeing, superlatives, it's a nice word.
Yes. Shall
The
we start a
games
replay,
that-
by the way, in the meantime?
Yeah, hang on, because I'm still sat
Yeah,
there
same.
looking at the damage dished out. I was like, what? Oh,
Yeah.
which one?
Jack's game in the T57 Heavy?
I was just hovering over that, oddly enough. I don't know
Great
why.
minds think alike.
Hey, there we go.
But it's just,
So-
it's nuts.
So I take it you've caught up, you guys.
Yes.
I think
Blown away.
I think
Yeah.
you need to take us through that because I am.
Hang on one sec, we're almost there to start the replay. Okay, I'm at battle, are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1, go. Analyst, amaze us.
Jack amazed me.
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
it
like,
looked
like,
like
like,
BPS
like,
has gone on tilt, but the games were super close. So
Hmm.
both teams have done really well, to be honest with you, at this stage. Like Jones, that's the Jones we know. That's the Jones we saw in the professionals tournament. That was
Yeah,
the Jones, not the Jones we saw against Loka. That was a totally different Jones.
I'd agree with that. Do you think it's also maybe a bit of BPS just not being themselves?
I really can't pick like major mistakes, to be honest. with
Because, you know, I would agree with that. They didn't make major mistakes. But most of their strats looked not fully planned out and relatively basic. As if they just only prepared for upper bracket and maybe didn't consider going down. Because it looked a bit shaky on some maps, if I'm honest. I'm not bashing on BPS, they played fantastic. But Jones just was so much more prepared.
I don't know. I feel like it's to do with. I don't think it's to do with. I don't know. I don't know how to put it in a better way. It's more like to do Jones have better strats than BPS, and BPS just looked like they didn't show their strong foundation as they did against Endgame. Let's put it this way.
I think it's also just like, I believe that they try to play without strats. As in, go with the flow of the battle, so to speak. Of course, every team has strats. But I believe they're one of the teams that is less focused on that and more focused on moving with regards to how the battle
Reactionary
evolves.
gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the first game.
Yes.
The first game was amazing for both teams. Both teams have impeccable focus fire. Like I can't say like Jones have like both teams. The focus fire is not the main reason why Jones won. It's more to do with the movement of Jones here. BPS starts.
To agree. Sorry for interrupting, but it's just literally what I have written down. That Jones were more together. And that's all I actually wrote down because that's the only difference it made. But keep going.
Yeah, the movement. I mean, BPS did a good move to kind of shut down some of the tanks at the start from Jones, but for some reason they stopped the push. I think it's to do with like Jones, they positioned themselves well, like BPS can't reach the defense line. But then Jones, they know BPS can't push any further, so they make the move themselves. So really great move by Jones to reset that mouse on B. Like BPS almost had that in their grasps, but they couldn't get that in the end. And BPS was kind of surprised by that move from Jones, and they made a move to counter that. But Jones, they had a plan. Like they didn't just reset me. They had tanks to, they had positions they anticipated BPS to make a move to counter the resets on B, and they took away loads of hit points of BPS away. And I think this move was the main reason why Jones won.
Definitely. I think also that B reset you mentioned
Mhm.
might also be a bit of a hit on the nerve. Might only be slight, but you know those can be irritating. Because that was a last second reset.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe even half of a second, because he basically had that cap. Because I was gonna write down, alright, cap advantage, they got 2 bases now. But then I think it was Daniel who did a last second reset there. That was fantastic.
Shall we start the next replay, by the way?
Yeah, Lego's just giving me a hard time because I didn't say GG. And Lego, you know, I'm still. I just said in my YouTube chat, it's a strange feeling. I'm gutted, but made up both at the same time. It's really weird. You know, I'm gutted because BPS have gone out, but absolutely made up that Joneses have gone through. And it's a really weird feeling. Anyway, sorry about that. So what's the next replay? Sorry.
Shall we do the Chimera one from M808?
Which one? Who?
M808 Chimera replay.
Who's M808? I'm trying to find that. Where is it? Oh, yeah. Scorpion
Yeah.
Chimera. Yeah, there we go. Oh. Sorry, carry on, guys.
Also, just want to point out, there's a few trolls in my chats that have been saying JBPS, which stand for something really toxic.
Yeah.
I'm just hiding them straight away on my channel, which also means they can't enter my giveaways and whatnot. Because if you're gonna be that toxic, you don't deserve to be in my chat.
Following suit though, in the second boat bay game.
Yeah, one second. We're almost there with the...
Okay.
Start
I
the
thought you
second
already
replay.
started.
I'm at battle.
Yeah, no.
I'm at battle.
I'm now as well. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go! Okay, go on, Peter.
Right, so I mean it was a pretty normal start, I would say. We had one team on A, which was BPS, Jones on C. But I think what made the difference, and one of you pointed that out, was BPS's aggression, which just did not pan out. Because I mean, we saw it. Radek, he lost like 2,000 hit points or something crazy like that. And especially on a mouse, you want that tank to eat up a lot of shots, preferably though without taking damage and maybe staying alive a little longer. And I think that made it quite difficult for him to play as well in the later stages of that game. But just in general, Jones had such good focus fire in that match. All around, I think the initial push happened when BPS was distracted actually, because Jones went back around through their spawn of the object. He was isolated somewhat, and then it just snowballed from there, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree. That B, the resetting of B by Ghosty was really instrumental. But I have to actually give credit to Romeo. That was some amazing bait right here. Like, Romeo Jones, in that M6 Yo, pretty much attracted the attention from BPS away. And that allowed Jones to kind of counter push through their spawn, and I think they found someone isolated there, and that was a great push from there
Yeah, that
on.
was the object, which has...
Can I cut it? for a moment.
Sorry.
There's a discussion in my chat going on about people saying that one player lost it and that because the F apologized, it means that it was his fault. That
No.
is definitely not the case. This is a team game, and it's everything stacked together. They're all phenomenal players. If you feel that you can judge them by their gameplay, I invite you to go 1v1 them. Because I have a feeling that you're all going to be absolutely wrecked with it.
And I also invite you to play at this level with the pressure that these guys are
Get
under
here first.
and all that sort of stuff. Because, you know, I'm sorry, no. You know,
The
you'll
only
see...
reason that we called out, that we mentioned the F's losing HP is because we know it was a game changer. That doesn't mean that it's his fault. It doesn't work like that.
Very true, but we also say every stream at this level, you are seeing the top players. I mean, these guys are top players. And you're seeing tiny little mistakes being magnified massively.
Because it's the tiny little mistakes that make the difference, and that's all there is to it.
That's right. I mean, these are tiny little mistakes, and they're being punished by players who are spectacularly good. Whereas if you don't make these tiny mistakes in games generally, guys. We make big mistakes, unlike these guys. And you know, if we were facing these guys with our big mistakes, we'd get punished a lot earlier. So it's unfair to judge any of these players because we're not facing the pressure. We're not facing, you know, the trauma that they're going through and all that sort of stuff. So it's very unfair to judge them.
Exactly. So just basically wanted to point that out just to avoid basically player bashing in the chat, because none of these guys have done anything to deserve that. They've been fantastic. All we do is point out where the game changes are. That's all.
And believe me, you don't want to play in a game when the F is on the other team. Even
Basically,
in randoms.
if I meet these guys, especially in tuning, regardless of who I'm tuning with, I always feel nerfed when I meet them and they're on the enemy team. And I know my chances of losing that game have just increased tenfold. Because they are amazing.
Can I just cut in to turn this disturbing topic into a happy one?
Sorry.
I've seen Jones on Discord. They're saying they're having a party right now because they're absolutely delighted at the fact that they got third, or at least
third.
lowest, at least third.
Yeah.
This is their. When did they start? In summer, or was it in?
Yeah, they did. Summer.
So it's their second season playing together, first of all, and they're already getting their avatar. I think they're very happy, and we're gonna see that tomorrow.
But anyway, another replay, and then you guys still need to talk about the Black Goldfield games.
Shall we go for the 11:32 Yo replay from Tommy?
Hang on, 11:32.
It's the
bottom, almost bottom one. Yeah. The Yo game, yeah.
Yeah. Come on, game, work with me. I'm getting the waiting icon. We just need to be a
Maybe
little
I mean, one little tip: since Fujit is slow with picking the replay, you can already download it first.
Yeah, but we need to agree on which one it is.
I mean,
Exactly.
Fujit seems to be able to comply very well.
I'm at battle.
Okay, I'm almost there. Let's see. I have the battle music and everything. Okay, I'm at battle. 3, 2, 1, go!
Alright.
Take it away for Black Gold.
Well, I mean, before I jump into the third game, going back to the second, I haven't really finished, but Jones, the great hit point push sharing, that is also something that is worth mentioning. Like, it's so evenly spread until the very end, and that, I think, also won them the game as well. For some reason, I don't think EPL was that aggressive. I mean, the bounce is, pretty far forward, but I do see that happening from different teams from time to time. So, but Jones really controlled EPS, especially in later stages.
might just look like it because the map's relatively small.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on how you look at it too.
That's true. But going into the third game, the Black go to the first match. Oh wow! I mean, I have a lot to talk about in this one. I mean, that's
Do I
it.
go first then? Because I have.
Shall I?
I mean, the start was pretty similar to both teams. I think both of them going towards A, which I think that was the 907 game, where they did get that base. Didn't matter too much though, because BPS did grab that back really quickly. Oh, wait, no. Did I do some boo-boos in my notes? I think I did. BPS actually got it first, and then Jones took it back.
No. No.
No?
You're right. Your notes are right.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Anyway, nothing really happened. It was more of a stalemate, just checking each other out. I think we lost a little bit of hit points here and there, but it wasn't anything significant until BPS decided to rotate to B and C, because that cap pressure really did get to them, because we got to, what was it, 800 for BPS's side.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you got messed up.
I'm mixing something.
Yeah.
Anyway, BPS lost a crap ton of hit points, and I think Jones's target priority especially was phenomenal that game. That's what I remember, and what is not messed up in my notes. They kept their tanks alive super well, especially Spitty, who got a bit lucky, but gotta have some luck as well.
I think this match is probably the most tactical match I've seen tonight. Like, Jones, they got a cap lead first, and they looked very robust in the defense near the caves area, and it looked like BPS would have a really hard time to push through the caves. And BPS was about to do that. Like, you saw, they were stacked up near their spawn, and they were about to rotate. Like, Jones had them contained there. But what I really like up here in the defense, they dropped so many hit points, and BPS also have some crucial bounces as well. Poor Whoopsie, I think a double bounce onto the backside of that IS-7. Although that could have changed the matters. Well, I think Jones really whittling down the BPS hit points made it even more difficult for BPS to make a comeback here, and also Jones had that terrain advantage as well. So in the end, I think Jones, the follow-up looked like they got they made that move very quickly.
Yeah.
But it worked for them really well, and I think that was very really tactical from both sides. Like, it was the game that we really love. Like, on the EU server, that's the kind of game that we fell in love with the EU server with.
Again, quickly cutting in. The other one from
Yeah.
Totalis?
Yeah, let's just scroll up to it. The T10.
0407.
Yeah, got it.
Ooh, it's E5.
Mm,
Because you don't see like a
yeah.
whole tank name.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing the chat has gone into disarray. Yeah.
A little bit. It's fixed now.
Okay.
Some people got muted forever.
All right.
Okay, I'm at
I
Bella.
like that.
Are you?
I am now.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay.
Were you finished with that match, or did
Oh
you?
yeah, I'm finished. I was saying that was a tactical masterclass for both teams. Like, it was the most tactical stuff I've ever seen so far tonight.
I think it was also the slowest game that we had played in
Kind of.
Germany. 'Cause we had a lot more rotations than usual. Might also just be down to the map though, if we look at it.
Right.
But yeah, then the second global game was. Why do I have only 2 sentences?
Oh, me too.
BPS got into a pretty early cap advantage, but that's really all that they were able to do with that. Because Jones, I don't think they got any caps after that. They only then worked to stop the C cap in the end, which was probably the riskiest move they've done this entire evening. Which, I mean, we saw what happened at the very end of the game, right? It was just an all-out brawl, focus fire everywhere. I think that was the most important that they ever had to focus, because there were so many low HP tanks everywhere, and then it just comes down to either who keeps their tanks alive better, or just who can kill them faster. And in the end, that was Jones.
I mean, fourth game was crazy to say the least. Like crazy.
Yes,
is probably,
I just simplified it.
Yeah, crazy is probably not
crazy
most,
enough.
Yeah, not at that level to describe how. I don't know what to say, but I would say like the last few seconds of the game was totally doxed in that. Which but there's still something to take away from this. Like, yes, they had the cap lead, but they looked a bit leaky, and especially the Vickers fight, which I agreed with the commentary, shouldn't have lost so many hit points, and yeah, got telegraphed the information for BPS, but it seemed that was a bit too much. Like, he was down to a one shot. Like, could have and I think if he has if he had conserved a little bit more hit points, that the Vickers like could have done something more. But all in all, that was not the main reason why BPS lost. It was really down to the very last few seconds. It was total pandemonium, and but you might notice Jones got all the caps like at one point. Like they tried.
They kept all caps at the end.
Yes, and that was very important.
Well, I want to point out as well, since at this moment, I think the biggest MVP of that match alone, like that game, that last one, is, I'm not sure who was in it, but the Vickers. Because he had such a crucial part. Yes, he also flopped his hit points, like both Vickers did, quite a bit. But his reactions were really phenomenal late game. When BPS went to cap A, it just started, or even before the cap started, he was already going back through the spawn.
I think you'll find Giseo. Giseo was in the Vickers.
He's an amazing light player.
Yeah, it was Giseo for the Joneses in the Vickers, and he was giving the F in BPS's Vickers a hard time.
Yeah, and I think he's played phenomenal that last game. He played his socks off.
Right. I mean, it was really chaotic, but both teams have done a really good job in focusing a little bit on the targets. And I mean, had BPS killed 2 tanks more quickly, it could have gone to BPS. It was that close.
No, it could have gone to BPS. And, you know, I lost my hit points said in my YouTube chat, and it's something I agree with, that the reverse sweep will affect them, and it did. It's as simple as that. And both Aminat and I said in the commentary, the RNG was not on BPS's side tonight. I mean, you can't not turn around and say, oh, it was. Yeah, okay, Whoopsie may have been not aiming properly or whatever, but it doesn't matter. I mean, these guys are at a top level, and I don't think the RNG was on their side. All the ammo racks apart from the 50B went to BPS. They were the ones that ammo racked all the time. So I think
actually Ghosty get ammo racked in one of the Black Ops.
I think he did, yeah, towards the end. But
that was full HP as well.
What is it? What is it?
At least that's what I read on Discord.
Possibly, but one of the thing we've got to take into account is that, I mean, BPS are a fantastic team. There's no denying that. They deserve to be top 4 and above.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. They were showing us spectacular gameplay against Endgame, and that I'm sorry, I still have to say it. That ammo rack on Radikos is going to affect them. They may have bounced back from Mayan. You know, it was a close game, But that game on Naval Frontier, I think, really hurt them. And I think that's where their spiral of going downhill came from. And, you know, Whoopsie at one stage sticks his gun in the air and just says, wow, wow, wow. As General gets ammo racked. It's demoralising. It's a kick in the balls. And then they've got they come straight off that. They have like a 20-minute break, and then they go straight into a game against Joneses. They're not going to be feeling the best. Their gameplay was disconnected to what we've seen, and I think a lot of that has got to do with the result of the end game. It's just kicked them down. And, you know, I feel totally heartbroken for BPS because it's just not been their evening. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's just not.
Exactly that. And like I said, you don't want people to get knocked out this way. You don't.
No.
Well, we don't want any of them to get knocked out at all. But we know that has to happen. But if it's on a 4-3, you know that they played their hearts out. It was very close. It could have gone every which way and everything.
Yeah.
And this is it gives a bit like a deflated feeling, so to speak. Not with regards to the Joneses, because I can get why they're celebrating. That was amazing.
Oh, totally. And don't misunderstand me. The Joneses played their hearts out. They really did. And that is one heck of a comeback after what happened against Loka. But I don't think we should be overly harsh on BPS. You know, they weren't playing this well. They weren't playing, because I think there's a lot more than what we see. Psychologically, it's going to be it's heartbreaking for them. That game against Endgame was heartbreaking. Heartbreak, I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're bringing that baggage into the next game. And when you bring that baggage in, regardless of all the experience they've got, etc., they are going to be trying that little bit harder. And those little mistakes will creep in. Not because they're not playing well, but because there's so much pressure on their shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget,
it's not just that. They
it's
also
not
had
just-
a lot less recovery time. And they
There
didn't
is-
have games
exactly.
to watch in between.
Exactly. And not only that, you know, not being funny, BPS have had a bit of a hard time, okay? So they're not just proving to themselves, they're trying to prove to others as well. It's a lot of pressure on them. And I think, you know, it was just a bit too much. And that's why these little errors crept in. And Jones has exploited it. Joneses came in, you know, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed after their loss against Loka. They've obviously gone away, probably had a beer or something, had a chill out, a bit of a calm down, and they've come back saying, right, you know, it's going to be a tough game, because they would have watched Endgame against BPS.
Yeah, they will.
They would have said, this is going to be tough. BPS are not going to be easy.
But they're also going to be hyped after watching that. They're going to be pumped for
There you go.
for their own games and everything. There's a lot going on that isn't just the gameplay, just like tons.
That's my point. It's not just the gameplay. There's loads of things rattling around in their heads, regardless of all the experience they've got. At this level, they are going to be tightening up a lot. And, you know, when you've got the ammo racks going against you, when you've got RNG going against you, all these things, you know, they add to that frustration and that, oh, we can't do anything right. And it's a kick in the teeth.
Yeah.
But, not to take anything away from Joneses, I mean, they came out fighting, and fair play to them. Absolute kudos to Joneses. They brushed off their loss against Loka. Sorry, I had to say that.
It's true, but it's kind of like what I said before this third matchup. It was either going to be a landslide for one or the other,
You
or
did.
it was
That
going
is
to be
true.
hella close.
That is true. But the reason I say it, I just think we're being slightly harsh on BPS, because I think there's a lot more to their mental state going into this Joneses game than we see.
Yeah. But I kind of do wonder how that's going to go tomorrow, because we're going to start off with EG versus Loka, and then whoever loses that has to face against the Joneses. And they will be on a high from today, obviously.
Totally.
But it's going to be a very tough pickle because if it is Loka, they've lost 4-0. Well, they've lost 4-0 to Loka, and if it's going to be EG, it's EG. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a very tough call. But basically, Jones is new to the top 4, so any position they take is going to be amazing for them.
You know,
Oh,
what I'm
Autumn
gonna
season
say.
top 4, I should say.
I think Jones actually isn't gonna, and don't mean this in a bad way, not gonna care too much who they face up against.
Yeah,
I
they're
think-
just going to try their best.
Yeah, that's
Whatever
what
happens,
I
they
was going to say.
So to
They
speak.
will just play their best games. I think they did today, but they'll probably try to improve that tomorrow. But they've reached their main goal, and
Mm-hmm.
they can be very delighted about that. But of course, there's still more that they can grab, and now it's how greedy do they want to be, and how hard do they want to fight for those spots.
That is true.
'Cause
Basically,
otherwise-
the innocence plays in their favor.
Yeah.
In this.
Otherwise, I think it would just be a fear factor. But now it's that greed instead of, I want more. I just had success by
Mhm.
reaching that top 3. Now give me the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I think that could make them very dangerous tomorrow. Whoever loses, especially if the Loka endgame is a reverse sweep or a sweep in general, because that team that loses is gonna have a hard time, no
Absolutely.
matter which it is.
yeah. But again, don't discount. I mean, I the first game today, Jones against BPS. I think BPS were probably a little bit overconfident because they would have seen what happened against Loka, and that hurt them. And then they're playing catch up. Don't underestimate the massive high that the Joneses are now going to be on. They're going to be on a huge high. They're going to be brimming with confidence. And they're going to take that into tomorrow, knowing that they turned over one of the best clans, one of the best teams in this tournament. And they turned them over spectacularly.
Yeah.
And them, they're going to take that into them. And at the end of the day, whoever they face tomorrow, if they play like they've just played against BPS, they're going to give Loka or Endgame a tough time. They're not going to go down without a massive fight. I think Evra's right. I don't think they'll care overly who they face, because I think their confidence will just be brimming.
Hope so.
Also, Jones reminded me of Pink on the CIA server. Like, I don't think a lot of people have really high expectations for Jones coming into this stage. So, and they will give their all, obviously. They will fight until the very end. So I think this is what we will expect from them tomorrow. They will really show at their best level.
That's
And,
also
yeah.
a bit of a relaxing position, though, because there's no expectations for you, which means that the pressure is different.
I mean, also BPS coming. The defending champions of the summer season this year. Obviously, compared to Jones, they finished third, if I remember correctly, in the summer season, and they debuted in summer season this year. So obviously, expectations aren't as high as, let's say, BPS, Loka, and Endgame, where all of them have won a season this year.
Yeah, but I think with this, Jones really were like, boom, we're on the market now.
Yeah.
It's time to talk.
Yeah.
Because
With relatively new players, that's
'cause-
for me the biggest difference here.
this
I
is a new team. I'm not sure if it's a new clan totally, but it's a new team, and it's like, we're new, we're here, we know it, but we're gonna show you how it's done. And they did that spectacularly today, and I think no one's gonna ever underestimate them. Starting from
And
this
I
point.
agree with every. I agree with every fully there. I mean, I think the Joneses are. I know what you're saying, Jack. I don't fully agree with it. Insofar as when you said people are underestimating the Joneses, not us. Maybe you're right that others may underestimate them. They've always had it in them. Always had it in them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch their PYSs, you watch their pro tournaments, they have a very fluid, when they want to be, and a very aggressive game style, and they deserve to be top 4, and they can turn any of these teams over on their day, as we've seen. But I think Ever is right. I think Jones is now are in a position where they can really stamp their authority and say, we're here, we're finally here. Don't take us, don't underestimate us, because we're really here. And I think that's a big thing. And I think Ever is right with that.
Mm-hmm. You've got a point, both of you.
Yes, a point at the end of my sentence.
No, that's a dot.
But the thing
Well,
is,
in Germany we call it a point.
Yeah, same in Dutch, to be fair.
But
I mean,
it's just like we're here and we're gonna mean business. And I think we can just expect great things tomorrow. Right?
yeah. Well, I was about to say, the only other thing I want to say is, this is the opening day of the Blitzcup EU, and
We said that for NA as well, didn't we?
it's totally spectacular gameplay that we've seen tonight. Totally spectacular.
I have to say that the gameplay that we've seen for this Blitzcup overall, for every single one of the servers, has been mind-blowing, and it's been awesome.
Yeah.
I
You know
love
what
it.
I'm just worried about? Where do we
What?
go from here?
Yeah, exactly.
What about next Blitzcup or Twister? We don't know that yet. But what
I
about
hope
next
Twister.
autumn season? How much
Well,
more can we improve?
Well, I just want to get through tomorrow, because I think we're just going to see amazing stuff tomorrow as well.
Mm.
It's going to be a roller coaster ride. I mean, we've got Endgame against Loka. Both of those are going to be hot for it.
They're very
Loka,
old
because
teams, so they have
well,
experience.
well, it's like I've said before. I mean, Loka seem to be top 4 for eternity and never getting anywhere else. They are going to want to change that, turn that deficit around. Endgame have always been the dominant force on EU recently. They're going to want to keep their domination, plus their last year's winners. They're going to want to keep their trophy back to back. So that's going to be, they're going to go at each other hammering tongs tomorrow. And then whoever loses faces the Joneses, who are riding on a crest of a wave. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic.
And on that note, we've pretty much reached the end of people being able to get rewards. We've talked about all the games extensively. That's going to be it for me tonight, at least. I want to say a massive thank you to Jack and Peter for joining us today to analyze. And I want to give massive kudos to Loka, EG, and the Joneses for making it to the top 3, and massive commiserations to BPS. You were phenomenal, and it's a shame that any team had to be knocked out.
Yeah, I'm just going to completely echo what Aminet's just said. That I've got nothing further to add. She's rounded everything up in a nice little bow.
Do you not
Seriously.
feel left out though?
No, because
Out of
she
her
really
package.
did. She really
but
did, put it
He
all in a
knows
nice
I love
little
him,
bow.
and I love commentating with him. I don't leave him out.
No. But, I mean,
Actually-
it's been an awesome evening. What can I say?
I had a game earlier today, by the way, where a guy started the battle with saying, Amanet loves Fujit. That was funny. Anyhow, thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the way we've done this and our commentary and analyzing and chatting and everything together. And of course, the fantastic gameplay that we've seen. For me and for my stream, this is it for now. I wish you all a very good night, and I'm really looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah.
And same here for my stream. It's also the end. Sorry, guys, but you can't get any more rewards. It's all over. And we need to get some rest, because we've got to come back and do it all again tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank each and every one of you for watching. And as Aminet said, massive congrats to Endgame, Loka, and Joneses. And a huge, massive commiserations to BPS, because we love you to bits.
Yes. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
No.